Other than a savory gravy with a tasty side of...
Hey, where are you going?
You kidding? The store.
Stock up on all your favorite Stouffer's meals for one. Today.
We want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
And now it's time for the voice.
Don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
I want you to get up right now.
Go to the window,
Open it.
stick your head out, and yell.
Rated by Top of the world.
The voice of Ocala with Buddy Martin.
You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
Look in my eyes, what do you see? The cult of personality.
Hello, welcome to a Friday edition of the Voice of Ocala. We're at Gateway Bank, which means it is, of course, Community Gazette Day here at Gateway, which it is every Friday. Glad to be with you on this rather toasty Friday afternoon. Hope you're in for a big weekend.
A little warm out there.
It feels, you like warm weather, so you
I
should be
do.
real happy.
I'm very happy.
Yeah. So just teeing things up for the show. Had a little lunch today with my friend Tito Comas over at Manny's, a little Cuban food at lunchtime, and visiting about a few things happening downtown. Some interesting things happening downtown.
I guess I technically owe you lunch now.
Yes,
don't I?
you do. But it did happen. The Spurs held on, and I collected that bet from you. We'll work that out. I'd rather just have you cook it and cook me a steak and cut it up and for me and feed me. That'd be the best thing. Not happening?
No, probably not.
Okay. All right, today on the show we got some interesting guests. Willett Boyer, old friend Willett Boyer, back with us again. Willett now, of course, no longer at the museum. He is teaching archaeology and history at Central Florida, and he'll be joining us shortly to talk about his pursuit of Hernando de Soto, one of his passions and other things that he's into. The horse park, we never talk much about it. It's quite a place in Ocala where they have all kinds of functions, and it's really called the Florida Horse Park and Agricultural Center. And today I've asked Etta Ettinger to come in. There's some kind of thing happening tomorrow about how to drive a horse carriage. So I said, well, how do you drive a horse carriage? Let's find out. Let's find out what's happening out at the horse park. So Etta will be checking in with us here in a little bit. And our friends from the city, Janine Robbins, Pamela Calero, they got lots of stuff to talk about today. Splash Pad is open at Citizen Circle. Memorial Day plans, news on the Friday Art Walk, as I understand, has been renewed. And that's what's happening during the next few hours. And I'm going to talk about what are these Republicans, what do they got up their sleeve, how are they going to respond to all the issues in Washington, and there are plenty to respond to. If you've heard the show speak, you've probably heard me say I was a little concerned, if not outraged, by some of the things that we've been hearing about, particularly about the petitioning or getting the phone records from the AP, the IRS's deal actually researching and trying to deny the nonprofit status to certain conservative outfits, and what's going on there. They're targeted conservative groups, and that's disconcerting to everybody, I think, Republican and Democrat and Independent, of which I'm one. And then the other thing is I'm going to talk about is it looks like Bob Woodward agrees with me, kind of. He thinks this is beginning to feel a little bit like Watergate. But what would he know? He probably copied that from me, right?
I think he knows a little bit more about Watergate than you do, probably.
Really?
Though.
You think so? Well,
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And also, I'm going to visit and talk a little about the power plant again today as we continue our pursuit of facts, just talking with a variety of people around town, what is going on down there, what's happening. I'm hearing second and third hand some information about the fact that they plan to go forward, what's happened to the former director and Kevin Reed, and then what Kevin Shealy has in store. I'm going to ask both of them to appear on the program in the next week or so, but I wanted that to cool off a little bit because it's still kind of a hot potato. And I have some concerns and questions about the power plants as we have sort of vested ourselves in that in this community, and we want to know more answers. Sports, we got Mike DeRocco. The whole Nicky Saban thing is still going on out there right now. People, Nick's responding today finally, or yesterday, talking about what he thinks about certain assistant coaches at Florida making remarks about him, people who used to work for him, Satan, as they call him. Saban is his name. He coaches Alabama Crimson Tide. And there'll be time to talk a little about the Preakness coming up tomorrow. Talk to our friend and correspondent Michael Compton today. He informs me he won't be on the show today. He's too busy, but he did tell me that there was a filly race today, and it was a charitable cause for breast cancer, and a young jockey, female jockey, won it, and she's from Ocala. So we'll hear more about that from Michael next week. He's at the Preakness. Of course, that happens tomorrow up in Baltimore at Pimlico. Orb, a heavy favorite to win the Preakness and have 2 legs up on the Triple Crown, and then it gets starting a little buzzing around here when that happens, because obviously a chance to have a Triple Crown winner is always exciting. Joe Williams will join us today. JJ will talk a little about the NBA. I watched again last night, most of it, and interesting to see how the Knicks are still hanging on their own life support system, and the San Antonio Spurs are through and done, ready to move on to the next round, which means Big Boy Tom owes me a lunch. So that's all coming up. So otherwise, we'll be here at the bank. You're welcome to drop by and visit us. Sean Down Goes Frazier's on the case today. JJ back in the studio doing his thing, and Tom Schmitz here along with me perusing the internet to see what the news is today.
Well, I'm right now. I'm not real fond of outgoing IRS Commissioner Stephen Miller and his. He told the House Ways and Means Committee in his testimony in front of them that it is absolutely not illegal to target conservative groups as nonprofit. And I don't understand that thought process. And this is what we have to learn more about, is where people are getting their information from. It's just as illegal to target a conservative group as it would be to target an African-American group, a liberal group, a gay and lesbian group. To single out any one group and target them to withhold the ability for them to operate as a nonprofit if they so are qualified to do so has to be illegal. And this isn't a question. People are getting caught up, buddy, and this is what's aggravating me about this. And I'm a Republican, but people are getting caught up in this. This is Republican versus the White House, and I don't see it that way. I see this as constitutional rights versus of everybody, not just one group. This would be just an outrage, just the same outrage to me as if it was they target African American groups, if they target gay and lesbian groups, if they target women's groups, liberal groups. An outrage is an outrage is an outrage. It doesn't matter to me what group gets targeted. And I think people are getting caught up in but they're targeting this group. It doesn't matter what group they're targeting. The fact that the target was there in the first place is wrong to me.
Well, I agree with you. I think the key is here that we have problems with the word target. And why is it the IRS's responsibility? Now, I understand. I've been reading on this a little bit, and I'm not that well versed, but I'm reading about the fact is that people are applying for a non-profit status is what the hang-up is, and it started somewhat with the super PACs.
Right.
And who seem to found the loophole, and, all this money that's going out there now being raised, and it's unlimited what you can raise
and
now.
And both sides have super PACs.
Of course they do. Of course they do. I think they found the loophole and exploited it, and then I think other people have jumped into that arena, and I do think some of this is about trying to put a hold on some of that. I don't know that. But the word targeting, the fact that the IRS would target anybody politically otherwise is wrong. And that's, it is the thing, as I read today, and I'm going to share some stuff with you later on about Newt Gingrich. But it is, in fact, disturbing because the image of big government getting in your business every day, doing secret things, that the secret society part of this is very disturbing.
And I don't care whether it was Democrat or Republican that was doing it. It's wrong. If the Republicans were in charge and this was happening under their regime, as it did in 1972 when they broke into the Watergate complex and everything, people need to go to jail, and it's wrong. It's just, I don't care what group's doing it, it's wrong.
And we'll talk about it after our guests come in. Right now, our guests are here.
They are here.
They are here. J9 in the house with Pamela next right here on the Voice of Ocala. Stay tuned for that right here on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
This reprise of Ask the Cops is proudly brought to you by Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976.
I used to be in the military, and I had a question about tasers because they weren't as available back then. I was wondering, are all the officers required to carry tasers?
Well, I'll tell you, our officers, they're not required to. They're required to carry two types of less than lethal force, and we give them an option of pepper spray, a baton, or a taser. The vast majority of the Ocala police officers carry them, and they work really well. A lot of times they just pull them out and put the laser on the guy or girl we're trying to arrest, and they usually give up, so we don't have to use them too much. I know the sheriff's office has them too.
Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless a recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA The Source.
Visit the WOCA website at www.woca.com.
If you want to avoid getting ripped off and put more money in your pocket, then join me, Clark Howard, every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA The Source.
So what did you do with your weekend? Me? I was flying, because I'm taking flying lessons from Ocala Aviation. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, I'd like to give that a shot, but I'm not quite sure. Well, I've got the solution. It's called the Discovery Flight, and that's exactly what it is. It helps you discover the wonder of flying and if it's for you. It's only $99, and it gives you the chance to learn a bit more about the airplane and then actually go for a ride with a flight instructor and take control of the airplane. That's how I got started, and now I'm on my way to being a pilot. I know, scary thought, right? But the demand for qualified pilots is stronger than ever. And with the help of Ocala Aviation, you could make a career change and learn to be a commercial pilot. But it all starts with a Discovery Flight. So stop by the flight school, conveniently located at the Ocala Airport. Visit the website at ocalaaviation.com or call 861-7484. That's 861-7484. Ocala Aviation. Your adventure starts here.
Black cow, the mature manure black cow.
With all the hard work you put into your lawn and garden, it just makes good sense to use the best products you can buy, like Black Cow composted cow manure. Use it with new landscape plants and trees, flower beds, and vegetable gardens, or use it as a top dressing for your lawn. Black Cow is organic, all natural. Look for the bright yellow and black bag.
Black cow, the mature manure black cow.
Hi, I'm Ernie Sprance. Join me weekday mornings at 10:50 for Report to Consumers. Consumer news you can use from your hometown station. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
WOCA.
Hi, welcome back to the Voice of Ocala. We're live at the Gateway Bank on a Friday. It's Community Gazette Day. And with us, two of our friends from the city. Glad to see them. It's always light brightens up our day. Janine Robbins and Pamela Calero. Ladies, how are you today? Nice to see you both.
Great. Good to see you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I don't see Janine as much as I used to. She used to be out and about, but she got promoted to big time, so she's she's not able to.
She's still out there.
She's still out there. I know she's a busy lady. I know. It's good to see her. So, And I know you guys are bringing some news today. We got a few things going on. We want to know what's happening downtown. Always interested in what's happening with our downtown and our city, entire city. So talk to me first about a place to go get cool. It's actually open. If you got kids, you want to go somewhere, don't want to go to the river or the lake or whatever, pool, you got a place you can go and get cooled off, right, Pamela?
Right. We've got a spot right downtown. It's the Citizen Circle Splash Pad, and it is open for business 7 days a week, sunrise to sunset. Actually, today I saw some kids out there playing, and, you know, parents you can bring a picnic. There's some picnic tables down there, and bring your food, bring the kids. And it's really a fun time. So I think that's something people should get out there and
free,
enjoy.
Of course.
And free, which is the biggest thing.
Always a good word for if you've got something you want to do in the afternoon, and want to drop down the city, downtown, stop and get a cup of coffee or something, then take your kids over to the splash pad. It's right there 2 blocks away. So.
Absolutely. Well, and a couple blocks away is 1 block chocolate confections. So get some ice cream.
Yeah, I've been there.
That's good. That's good.
Those people are very nice. They've been great stakeholders downtown.
Yes,
they
have.
supported every one of the events at the Marion Theater. They're wonderful folks. They work extremely hard. They're working all the time. And and by the way, their candy and their ice cream, not bad either.
No, it's not.
It's a terrific place. So, all right. So, Janine, you've been a busy lady.
Yes.
You got stuff going on. I know that there's some plans for Memorial Day downtown, right? Or is it not? No, nothing going on downtown at the Citizens Circle.
Well,
you put out an email the other day about what's happening on Memorial Day.
Oh,
what was
buddy,
that about?
you've got to read my email.
Oh, I didn't read that.
It was just letting everybody know that we were closed on
Oh,
Memorial Day.
so you got nothing going on.
And when we would be doing the residential sanitation.
Oh, I apologize.
Which is super important.
Well, then go ahead and tell us about that then.
So if you live in the city of Ocala, they will not be collecting residential sanitation on Monday. Monday's routes will be collected on Tuesday. Tuesday's routes will be collected on Wednesday, and the remainder of the week will remain the same.
Correct.
And you know, people they want to know.
Yep.
What's going on? It's a long weekend, and they have a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
to
you
get out
can
to the
take
curb.
the garbage out and say what happened. There's nobody here to pick it up.
Right.
You want to know what happened.
Right, absolutely.
All those barbecue ribs from Memorial Day.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Yeah,
exactly. So, what's going on down City Hall these days? This is important.
So, well, we've got a lot going on right now, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about is there is an event tomorrow downtown that's going to benefit PACE, the PACE Center for Girls. It's a wine and tapas event.
That's always a good one.
Yeah, and I believe there's, like 10 or so vendors, establishments participating, and you can buy a passport for $35 per person, and it gets you entry into all of the participating establishments. And it's tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The participating establishments are Feta, Pie on Broadway, La Cuisine, Corkscrew, Stella's, the Coyote Cantina, Mark's Prime, O'Malley's, the Melting Pot, AJ's, Sushi Bistro, Harry's, and Irish Rose Gallery for the gathering. And you can acquire the passports at any of those establishments. And I believe they're just accepting cash for the passports.
It was very successful last year. I know Thomas Pesto from Stella's was very involved in that. We had him on the show last year talking about it. And it proved to be that they had a bigger turnout than even they expected last year.
Well, we want everybody to get downtown and, you know, the huge Feel Downtown campaign. And I'm really impressed. I think there's been something almost every weekend, or at least maybe something during the week going on, really since the holidays have been over. And it's so nice. It's what Matt talks about. You don't have to worry if there's something going on downtown. You just know there will be.
Yeah.
And you can come and there'll be something to do.
Matt Brower,
yes.
the city manager,
Yes.
whom I spoke with today because he dialed me back and I got a wrong number.
Did he butt dial you?
He saw my number and he dialed by mistake. I had texted him earlier and he dialed me by mistake, but we had a nice chat. So good to know what's going on down there. All right, so now they're also they're doing something to the square. The activity going down with the changing of the square being remodeled, and what's going on there?
Yes, well, it's there's going to be some improvements made to the square. My understanding is it's currently out to bid, so the specs have been put out there, and they're waiting for the different contractors to come in and say, pick us, this is why, and we can do it better. So we have to go through that whole process, and the work should start here shortly. They're going to be leveling some things out and putting in additional brick features and moving some things around just to kind of make it more accommodating for gatherings and, just do some improvements down there. So we're excited about that, too.
Pamela, I know that you worked very diligently on the recent Great Gatsby project, which was a huge success.
A lot of fun.
Jenny Bolton, you did a great job on that. And I want you to talk a little about the demographics of the people who were there for that, because, we always want to have the younger people coming to the events, and sometimes we don't get that. And quite frankly, we thought we'd have an older crowd for this particular event, and it turned out there were quite a few young people there for that event. Did you notice that?
Yep, buddy. We had, people of every age there, from teenagers and all the way. We had people visiting us from the villages. They brought their antique cars, everyone dressed up. It was really great to just look across that block and see the vintage cars, everyone dressed up in their Gatsby gear and enjoying the movie. I think it was a great draw for people, and I heard so many people say, hey, I've never been to the Marion Theater before, but I had a great time tonight. And we really hope that brings those people back, and they can have memories again there. So, it just, all spectrums. It hit all spectrums.
Once you go to the Marion and you get what it is, you understand it's not just a theater. It's part of who we are in our downtown area, and it's so special to people when they go there. They get that. And movies like The Great Gatsby, who have a little history and it's a historical building, you get a little different flavor and feeling about it, being in that building. I heard a lot of people say that about that. And I was very pleased to know that we did so well with the concession stand, had a great night for the Sotos who... they have a lot going there, and they spent a lot of money to keep that thing going. And quite a few, some nights are not many people in the theater because during the week it's light. So you love to see them have a big movie and have a big response, to see people reach out and take part in all the events downtown. I know I was at Mark's and we ate dinner before the movie. We went to the late movie, and it was jam-packed. And you know that when we bring people down for events, they stack up in those restaurants, and that's good for us because we get tax money, tax dollars, sales tax, whatever you want to call it, CRA money, whatever. And it's good for everybody concerned. So that's really good. And I think Matt Brower's idea, like you say, is to just come on to Ocala on the weekend or a week because something's going to be going on, right?
Exactly. Yes, that's what we're working hard towards, and we've got so many other organizations and individuals that are helping. It's not just the city. It's everyone that's kind of coming together and contributing. Which
anything
is really
else
neat.
You can give me a heads up on events and things that may be happening in the next couple of weeks or months or?
Well, I will do a little teaser, and I promise I wouldn't give too much out.
I want to scoop here, lady.
Okay, all right. Well, there is a very high probability that there'll be another event, perhaps another movie event next month.
Elvis is coming.
Well, no, but
we just have to wait.
We just have to wait, but it's going to be the antithesis of what what we experienced with The Great Gatsby. I'll just leave it at that.
Antithesis, huh?
Yes. That's the word of the day.
So let's see,
it's not on my calendar.
That would be like dressing down instead of dressing up. It would be more modern instead of being older. And it would be sci-fi instead of F. Scott Fitzgerald. I don't know. Whatever.
That's
I'm just
very
guessing.
possible, yes.
Just guessing.
You will find out.
Yeah, we're hoping we can release some information next week.
Yes. So. Now, how is it that in your department you have all these Gators? You got Pamela now in there, and you, and Janie, you're all Gators. And are the FSU fans complaining about that by any chance?
Well, I will tell you a funny, quick little story. The city's been running its annual Citizens Academy, and last night was the 7th of the 7 classes, and it was held out at the airport, and Matt Brower was one of the keynote speakers, and he came in to talk about
FSU guy.
Right. So for his opening remarks, he's like, and he was kind of telling where he came from and how he came to the city, and as he was going backwards chronologically, he said, and I got my master's degree at FSU, and let's hear it for the Seminoles, and there was not a...
Nothing.
Chirp, chirp.
Yeah, it was chirp, chirp, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Well, two things two thoughts come to mind there. I think Kevin Sheely learned his lesson about bragging about Louisville beating Florida in the Sugar Bowl at the meeting, the first chamber meeting, a partnership. He learned that lesson. It wasn't too much too many happy Gators out there. And the second thing is that I do think the Seminoles, I'd like to see them have a little bit of a presence in the community. Quite frankly, many years ago, there were people who followed Florida State, seemed to me like everybody kind of supported each other except when they played each other.
Sure.
You know, and I know that Jimbo Fisher's going to be here next week. And he's going to have here for his golf tournament at the Country Club of Ocala. We're going to broadcast out there.
Great.
We're probably going to have Jimbo on the radio, you know.
Good for you.
And so, you know.
Use Purell when you're done.
Well, I mean, you're terrible. You're so bad. You're
Sorry.
so bad. I just think it's good for the community because, you know, quite frankly, there are some people here, love the Gators as though we might, that their kids couldn't get into Florida or chose not to go to Florida. Right. A little bit of a backlash about that in some regards. And so I think the Gators have got a little work to do in this community. I've said it on the air a number of times. You can't take those people for granted. Not send your head coach down here for events. Mm-hmm. You know, not participate in any way in Ocala, and expect great support that this community has given over the years, especially the basketball, when a lot of fans don't show up from Jacksonville and Tampa and Orlando, and Ocala fans do. And I think there are a few people who feel like they have a little bit of a cold shoulder there. So in my mind, Jeremy Foley, if you're listening, I know you're not, you know, a little bit of missionary work here would be good because, and I welcome Florida State to be here.
Sure.
If I'm a USF and UCF, I'm coming up here, you know, what the heck, working the villages, working the Ocala, trying to get a foothold here. Because this has been Gator country for a long time.
Yes.
And if somebody want to get a hold in here, get their toe in the door, pretty good time to be doing it right now.
Absolutely.
So,
take advantage of those opportunities.
I know you don't want to hear it that way, but
well,
nonetheless,
it's fine. I certainly, it's nice that we have a state that has such excellence in collegiate athletics, and not just
there's
football.
been this real rivalry, and in a way, it's kind of turned sour a little bit. I love when Bowden and Spurrier were going head to head. That was fantastic.
Those were the
couldn't
days.
get any better. So I definitely want to, like I said, it happened, but it's not going to happen again. So anyway, all the best to all of them. Anything else before we close up this segment, ladies?
Yeah, I promised that I would talk about the city's hosting a community workshop at IHMC on Thursday. I'll leave the flyer with you.
This Thursday coming up?
Coming up on the 23rd, kind of to continue the discussion about infrastructure, housing, intergovernmental coordination, and the city's comprehensive plan. So it's an opportunity for citizens to come out and be involved in planning what the future of this city and this community is going to look like and how it's going to be shaped and designed and handled.
I know everybody likes to have participation for the community, so get engaged, get involved. I've got the flyer, and I will remind folks again. That would be next Thursday, 6 to 8 o'clock, in downtown in City Hall.
It's at IHMC.
IHMC.
Which we always love going there.
Yeah,
I just feel smarter when I walk in the
building.
building.
You do, don't you? It's like when I go to visit up in Boston and walk to the Harvard Yard and I see John Harvard's statue, I stand next to it. I just feel a lot smarter when I'm there. You know?
Osmosis.
Exactly. Well, good to see you, Pamela Calero and Janine Roberts.
Thanks,
we appreciate
buddy.
you dropping by today. Have a great weekend, and good luck. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Take care.
We'll take a break, and we'll come back. I think we're going to be joining with Etta Ettinger from the Horse Park. I'm not sure. We're going to work that. We'll see you next right here on the Voice of Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and a coffee pot is always on. Call your good neighbor's State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 294-2444.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day. Whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands, at Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
On Mondays, AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Torkel S. Wachter, the son of German Jewish parents who suffered under the Nazi regime. He's an historian and he trained as a diver in the Royal Swedish Navy. He's written a book. It's called The Investigation, a true story as recorded by Tori Wachtel's paternal grandfather and father.
Open for debate, where both sides of one issue will be debated.
And then Jeanette Carpenter will be on with us, a brand expert featured on the Hot 97, Radio Disney, and iPower 92.1, coming on to speak about the book, Starting a Nonprofit, Leadership, Programs, and Branding.
Have all of your vehicle questions answered by Matt Gibbs, owner of Sunrise Automotive, on auto repair with personal care.
And then Congressman Richard Nugent will be on to tell us what's going on up in Washington, D.C.
Pastor Luis DeJesus is the pastor of New Hope Church. He'll be speaking about the God Belongs in My City prayer walk that is happening in our area on Saturday, June the 1st.
All of that plus Fun with Joe on Mondays, AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
Call me crazy. Some people say insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. I think insanity is 1,000 single-sided full-color business cards for $15 or packing service for 50% off. Call me crazy. Regency Printing on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Look for the yellow signs.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Where in Florida? A nice day today with partly sunny skies, the high 81 on the coast, up to 88 well inland, and partly cloudy tonight, those 66 to 70. More sun than clouds tomorrow and becoming more humid, the high 82 on the coast, approaching 90 inland. For Saturday, partly sunny, warm but humid with a thunderstorm in some areas, especially inland in the afternoon, the high 83 at the coast, 89 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, welcome back to the Voice of Ocala on a Friday at Gateway Bank. Good to have you with us listening. Hope you're driving. If you're driving, drive safely out there. A lot of activities going on in the community today. Relay for Life happening all over the city and the county.
Angie Lewis got a team. JJ's supposed to be out there this afternoon tonight. JJ's supposed to be working Angie's booth. He committed to Angie on Tuesday that he would go.
Well, one thing about JJ, when JJ commits, he always shows up. That's
JJ, so you're going to go to Trinity Catholic this evening?
Of course, Tom.
Yeah. He always does. When he commits, he shows up. And some of our guys are out at also working on.
Dan Martone is out at the. I believe it's a benefit for Life South out at
Golden Ocala.
Golden Ocala, and a golf tournament out there. They're playing a fundraiser out there. So 5 Points of Life Foundation. So
and also our our scheduled guest. It's not Ed. I'm sorry, Ellen Edinger from the Horse Park. I just talked to her. She said her husband called her and phoned her and said, "Don't forget, you're supposed to be at Trinity Catholic at 4 o'clock.
Relay for Life.
Relay for Life, and they're both cancer survivors."
Right.
And so they said they committed. I said, "I totally understand that. We'll catch you next time." Catch up on the Horse Park. The Horse Park has some very interesting things going on out there. It's something that we don't probably do enough on, and it covers not just thoroughbreds, of course. It covers the jumpers and quarter horses and Pasafinos, what have you. And they have some activities going on at the Florida Horse Park and Agricultural Center open to the public, and we were hoping today to get Ellen to tell us about those. We'll get her some other time and find out what is happening at the Horse Park. Last night I watched the final American Idol with Randy Jackson on it and maybe everybody else. The winner, they got it right this time, without question, although Cree, I think, has got a great future in country music.
Cree Harrison.
Candace won it, as she should have, and she is a terrific singer, and she deserved to win it. So if it's a singing competition, Candace Glover is the person that should have won it, and she did.
The problem with American Idol, though, buddy, only 14.3 million viewers tuned in. That's a 33% drop from last year's final, which was 21.5 million, but that's not the scary number. The drop among advertising coveted young adults, 44% drop. They lost almost half the young adults watching the show, and that's not what a show needs to hear.
You know what? I understand that. I guarantee you there's not a TV executive anywhere in the world that wouldn't take 14.3 million viewers anytime.
Oh, I understand, but if they say Fox says it's scrambling to revive the singing contest. It's going to revamp the judges panel with and making a yet-to-be detailed format change. They're going to change the format somehow.
They're talking about doing away with some of the judging, whatever, somehow or another.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
but
why.
Randy Jackson gone.
He's gone.
And I'm pretty sure everybody but Keith Urban's gone, too.
Well, I'm not sure Keith Urban's not gone also. So we'll see. I don't know if he signed a 2-year contract or not. But
Nikki's definitely gone.
Yeah. She at times was interesting. At times she was ridiculous. But then again, that's how judges
Paula
are.
Abdul at times was ridiculous.
Of course. So anyway, last night, I care about the music and the backstory of the candidates. The story behind the kids is great. And Cree of course, had a great one. Cree Harrison lost her family. And so I think they got it right. And here's the thing about it. Randy Jackson mentioned this last night about how many people's lives they had changed and how his life had been changed by meeting all these young people. Look at the stars out there today who are superstars, mega stars. And by the way, Jennifer Hudson last night in a duet with Candace Glover, remarkable performance. One of the great nights I've ever seen in terms of music. It was fabulous.
Well, they got Grammy winners, Oscar winners, can all call themselves alumni of
Jennifer Hudson did pretty well for herself.
She did the Oscar. She won an Oscar. Of course, Carrie Underwood's won Grammys. Kelly Clarkson's won Grammys.
So they raised up some awful good singers out of that. So that's the thing I like.
Awful good entertainers all the way around.
And I watch your show, The Voice, sometimes. I've kind of like that. I'm really aggravated about Golden Boy going off the air. I watched it last night. It was a rerun from Tuesday, and I thought it was it's about 9/11, you know.
And they warned you that there was some graphic.
Yeah, and it's okay with me. But the thing about that is it was well acted and well written. I don't get it. Maybe it's just another New York cop story.
It's probably because they didn't realize Buddy Martin and Tom Schmitz wanted the show. If they knew we were avid fans, they'd probably put it right back on TV.
I find very little on television that I like anymore. I will say that Nashville this week, they brought it all to a head down that baby. Everything crashing down at one time. And
let's just say there'll be no tape out for the public viewing of Hayden Panettiere's character.
Yeah, really.
Her mom took care of that, didn't she?
Yeah, man, that's bizarre. And I didn't really, although I saw something going on, I didn't see that happening.
I didn't see it going there.
Yeah, and City Councilman Jay Musley passing by, waving. Come over, sit down, Jay, when you get a minute. Catch us up on a couple things. But anyway, I thought I'm just tired of like you and Laurie said today. Laurie said she's tired of the
dead body
show. You know how I complain about that? 11 seconds, you got a dead body
on.
There's
150 dead body shows on TV every week.
Yeah, for sure. So, I like stories, a little dialogue, which I think the Golden Boy had, and occasionally an entertainment show like
I like that.
Idol of Voice.
I like that competition they had going between him and the Hispanic detective that was the Golden Boy in the department until he showed up.
It was good. Speaking of Golden Boys, guess who just showed up? City Councilman Jay Musley.
A Golden Boy in his old
we don't get a chance to get him very often. We have to grab him when he runs by because he's always so busy doing something. So we just sucked him right in and sat him down and said, "What's going on, Councilman?"
In this vortex of you guys talking about American Idol, which I watched the show last night.
Did you? What did you think of Candace Glover?
I think she's a very, very good artist. I think that all the top four were excellent.
Yeah.
So,
all those are going to have a great recording career.
Wait, are you telling me Jay Musley watches American Idol?
Of course, he knows good stuff. When he is. I think like I say, any of the four could. Like Jennifer Hudson, she didn't win.
That's right, and she's turned out to have one of the best careers of them all.
Christine McVie didn't win win. She
Daughtry
finished
didn't win.
third or fourth, and she was on the show Smash that just got canceled by NBC. It was still a 2-year run on that show.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought the right person won.
Yeah,
and
they did a good
and
job.
they're all going to have good careers. That girl Angie, she's going to be great. Cree, of course, will be a country star, just without question. So catch me up with all the news of the city. You guys have had a full plate on dealing with the numbers, it seems like, for the last couple of months. And catch me up with what's happening in the downtown area. I know we're all anxious to know about what's going to happen to the east side of the square. I know everybody's waiting, and you don't have any fresh information, but sort of give me an overview of what's happening with the downtown situation.
Okay. Well, first off, you mentioned numbers. I didn't, so I'll give you a brief update on the numbers. You're right. We've been immersed in numbers, and here we will start our new budgeting process in June for next year because our fiscal year starts in October.
Already?
So, yeah, it's already amazing. But getting back to the downtown, I've not heard it from Peak or Boone, but I think they plan on some type of an increased due diligence with another extension on the contract for the square to put a boutique hotel there.
And that's the Sandy McBride project too. Is that they seem
Sandy is involved in the project. They brought Sandy in because he had the Sprint building.
Yeah.
Not I wouldn't say under contract, but wrapped up.
But they have separate deals.
Well, they've agreed that if they go forward with them, they can blend them into one deal and one master development. So they could be separate deals or they could be one deal. It just depends on which deal goes forward. Sandy said he wants to go, if the due diligence on the Sprint building proves out that he can make it work, Sandy wants to go forward with his, regardless of whether the square project goes or not.
Okay. All right. So that's happening, and I know you've got the pension thing you've had over your head all summer, working through that part.
We have another council workshop May 29th to go over the ordinance changes that we're going to propose to the general employees' pension.
Do you have any insight? I don't want to put you on the spot because you just sat down here. You can share with us on the situation at the power plant.
I do not know.
Everybody says the same thing about that.
I've met Kevin. I like Kevin. I don't know him real well, but he's a very likable individual.
Two Kevins.
Both Kevins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Reed, of course, is the one who stepped
Reed
down, and Kevin Shealy.
Kevin Shealy.
Who had the partnership with the chamber.
I think we're very fortunate to have Kevin Shealy in our community, and I think we were very fortunate to have Kevin Reed involved in the power plant and getting it started. I'm just surprised that it came to that, and I'm sure there's.
So you don't know any more than anybody else does about that?
No, sir.
So okay, just thought I'd ask. It's my job to ask questions.
No problem.
Otherwise, the condition, the financial health of the city is good, and all that sort of stuff. And
financial health is good. We're gonna have enough tough budgeting session. The rising pension costs, we'll have another 2 years of it before it finally settles down, and then it will be 10 years before it really goes down.
Now, give me this as a departing gift. Thanks for just dropping in. If, like, we were picking football games, I know your late father used to love to pick football games, and you do probably, but if you're picking football games, what would be the over-under on when something would happen downtown significantly involving the Square, Linear Park, and Symphony Hall over in Tuscaloosa? What would be the over-under in years before a good portion of that started? What would be your number?
I think each one of those projects is a little different.
Let's just take the east side of the Square then.
I think the east side of the Square probably has more pitfalls than the other projects
really
have.
Linear Park has a better possibility of getting done fast?
I think the Linear Park, I really think the Tuscaloosa project that you mentioned with the Symphony Hall may have the best because they came up with a donor of, what, $700,000?
Yeah, they got some money, some private money, which, private-public partnership.
That makes a deal a lot more likely.
Yeah.
Being able to finance it, being able to bring it. The city can't take these projects on its own. Okay?
No, you can't build them. I understand that.
Right.
You can sure work on the parking garage, though, and I understand that's been kicked around back and forth some more.
The parking garage has been kicked around, and I talked to a couple people in the the Downtown Business Alliance and reminded them that it was them who came to us and said, we'd like to put the parking garage on hold and focus on some other projects. Now the parking garage is back in forefront, so they need to decide, because it is them in the downtown CRA.
We had Ted Shot on yesterday and talk about that.
Right, Ted's a good one to talk to about it.
I just don't understand that there's so many projects that we could be focusing on. And I'm sorry, I'm not the most fit guy, so if I can walk 3 blocks, most people in Ocala should be able to walk 3 blocks. And I've lived in big cities like Atlanta, Chicago. I've lived in Tampa for a while. 3 blocks to walk from a parking lot to your chosen destination, even in 95-degree heat in Florida, isn't very far. I don't think that. I'm sorry, I may be the only person that thinks this, but there's not a parking problem downtown.
Unless you have a hotel, then it's a different deal.
I think Buddy has hit the nail on the head. Okay, if you want a boutique hotel that has the availability of a convention center, even if it's a mini convention center, then I've been told the feasibility hinges on a parking garage.
Right. And I think
that's what I've been told.
Yeah,
it's not whether I believe it or not.
It makes sense. We're not talking about the Marion Theater here. We're talking about
a
significant number of people.
I'm like Tom. I will find a spot somewhere that I can still parallel park. I'm old enough that I can still parallel park.
But if you're coming from Miami to a convention here for 3 days, and you're going to come load your car up and you have to drive 4 blocks to park your car, that's not a good thing. You have to have parking for hotels.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore, now that the hotel is a viable project.
Yeah.
Okay, it's when I said it was ranked maybe 3rd on my list, that doesn't mean it's a non-viable. I think it's a very viable project.
Right.
But I think to make that work, those folks are going to need a parking garage, and there's where the DBA needs to step up. And say, you know what, we want to make that happen because we think a hotel is needed, or you know what, I think we need to pass on that, and we're spending our money somewhere else.
Interesting. Glad to get your side of it because we talked to Ted Schott in DBA yesterday, so good to have that. Listen, thanks for dropping in.
Hey, no problem.
Last minutes. Appreciate that, Verons. Have a great weekend.
You too, and go Gators.
Go downstairs and get yourself some money. It's on me.
Okay. Thanks,
All right, we'll take a break. Councilman Jay Musk, take a break, come back. I'll finish up this hour right here on the Voice of Ocala. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently with General Manager Pat Murray on the great family atmosphere at Country Club of Ocala.
It's a family-first club. Again, we have any number of different types of memberships, but obviously the one that attracts the greatest level of interest is our family. And the reason for that is we have a little bit of something for everybody. I mean, we obviously have a world-class golf course. We have 7 tennis courts here for all levels of tennis players. We have a junior Olympic-sized swimming pool. We have a fitness center that's second to none, and we have state-of-the-art equipment in our fitness center.
Country Club of Ocala, where the facilities are all a family would ever need. For more information, call today at 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of Monday's Gator Report and Gator Talk Thursday right here on The Source. Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name.
This is Don with ABC Frederick's Appliance. Here's my daughter, Lena.
And hey everybody, it's Lena. You need to come down to ABC Frederick's Appliance on County Road 25, just over the railroad tracks in Bellevue, where you are treated right with the right products like Whirlpool, Maytag, Crosley, and Speed Queen. These are the new ones. Don't forget, we also carry used appliances that we warranty. ABC Frederick's Appliance does repairs too. Call us at 629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance on County Road 25, just over the railroad tracks in Bellevue. It's at 629-5181.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
In the battle of the leafy greens, kale comes out on top. Gram for gram, kale has more vitamin C and A and K. Plus, kale has 3 times more lutein than spinach, which helps protect your retinas. 61% of human resource managers said a tattoo would seriously hurt a job applicant's chances. Do you have distilled white vinegar in your home? Doctors say this is a great natural bug bite remedy because it neutralizes the venom.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hi, this is Joe, and I'm your host for the new show, Damage Control, every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m., brought to you by Damage Control Services. We're going to be discussing floods, fires, storm and tree damage, sinkholes, mold, and many other disasters that you need to know about, how to prevent and prepare for them, as well as what to do when it happens and what to expect after it happens. This is Damage Control, Tuesdays at 10:30, right here on The Source.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA The Source.
All right, welcome back. Final couple of minutes here at Gateway Bank on a Friday. Tom and down goes Frazier trying to figure out how to get their lottery or Powerball. That's
$600 million.
Yeah, like that makes a difference. I always get a kick out of that. Oh, it's 600. Would you take it as $1 million? Of course you would.
But I wouldn't play it till it gets to this amount.
Why? You don't. So you don't. Oh, so I get you. So in other words, it doesn't matter. $1 million doesn't matter to you. That's always a joke to me. People say, "Oh, it's $600 million." So
no,
you think your chances are better because
I'm not going to play it. No, I'd play it every day if I was going to play it for $1 million. I only play it once it gets past $400 million. Then I go spend $10.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
It makes about as much sense as doing it for $1 million.
My point is, though, it does not increase your chances of winning.
No, it does not.
So that's what I always. I mean, would you take a half?
It actually decreases because there's lots more people involved.
Exactly. So there you go. So anyway, have at it. That's fine. I mean, good people. We should go win it, and then we'd go buy our own radio station.
No, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't.
All right, that's going to wrap up the first hour. Coming up next hour, we'll be talking about a variety of topics, and we've got one particular guest that we'd like to get in on here, and that would be our friend Willett Boyer, who's he's no longer the head guy at the museum, but he's got his own thing going on. So, Dr. Willett Boyer next. Lots more to come on the situation in Washington after this timeout on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase process fixed rate allowance.
Mayday! Mayday! Our buyer blew it. He ordered 38 cars instead of 8. And now we have got way too much inventory.
Hey, this is Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. I've got to sell these 30 cars extra fast. I'm going spastic, so I've got to do something drastic.
Qualified buyers with $5 down can drive a nicer, newer car today. Who knew $5 could get you a nicer, newer car?
Well, it can because I'm in a jam.
Is bad credit causing you distress? My For the People credit approval process just may save the day. Get approved for a nicer, newer car you'll love. Mayday! Mayday! Get down to Prestige Auto Sales right away. The Mayday Madness ends after we've cleared 37 cars.
My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales or call 694-1234. See you at Prestige.
Hi, this is Lisa Midget, owner of Kinetic Motion Fitness here in Ocala, Florida. A lot of you have experienced our great classes in personal small group training, but did you know we now offer dynamic workouts on DVD? These high-quality, locally produced, effective DVD workouts can go where you go. Going on vacation? No problem. We can go with you. Friends and relatives out of town who are jealous that you get to come to KMF? No problem. We ship anywhere in the United States for free. Our great lineup of 4 DVDs includes Kinetic Achieve, Kinetic Couples, Kinetic Core, and Kinetic Campus. 4 great workouts for the entire family on DVD. Sound interesting? Check them out on our website at kmfocala.com. While you're there, check out our class schedule and come see us. We're only 5 minutes from downtown across from the Skylark Plaza. Visit kmfocala.com and like us on Facebook. KMF will get you results at our studio or at home with one of our DVDs. Kinetic Motion Fitness. We're ready when you are. Visit kmfocala.com for more information.
If you need a sign or a banner for your yard or your business or your campaign, I'd recommend you go to Signs Unlimited at 318 South Magnolia in Ocala. Screen printing, embroidery, digital graphics. Do what I did when we needed signs for the Save the Marion Theater Group. Go see Vic Buttermore at Signs Unlimited if you want quality work with a fast turnaround from somebody who is deeply committed to his community and always ready to assist you. There's a reason Vic's slogan is, "It's our business to make your business better." Sign up for Signs Unlimited. Call 732-7341 today.
Don't get caught in the dark. Call Tri-County Generators, LLC first at 1-800-622-1957, your authorized Generac dealer. Tri-County Generators are there when you need them with new generators for home standby, commercial, RV, and portable generators. They also service your existing systems. Now is the time to act. Be prepared before you have an emergency. Call Mike Gant today at 1-800-622-1957. That's 1-800-622-1957 for Tri-County Generators.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're ocalaforsale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to ocalaforsale.com. License and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
Hi, I'm Russ with Climate Control Mechanical Services, and I want to invite you to tune in every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. to listen for tips and answers to the many questions you may have about your air conditioning and heating for your home or business. The Climate Control Show, every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. right here on WOCA, 1370 a.m. and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Stay informed on everything going on in the villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
In tonight's Mega Millions lottery. They don't see eye to eye on much, but Democrats and Republicans on the House Ways and Means Committee agree it's time for big changes in the IRS. The first hearing into alleged abuses began today. The tax man is accused of unfairly targeting conservative political groups who are seeking tax-exempt status. Another record close for the Dow. The market is headed that way. Your 401k may be about to get another boost if you invest in stocks. Didn't think you'd complain about that. Mum's the word from Beyonce and her husband Jay-Z, or is it mom? E! News is reporting that the singer is expecting her second child. That could be why she postponed a concert in Belgium this week. The couple is already parents to 1-year-old Blue Ivy. This is ABC News.
Hey, what's happening? I'm Wright Brand Bacon, the bigger, better bacon. When you bite into Wright Brand Bacon, it's like DJ Bacon dropping a beat in a packed bacon disco in your mouth. I'm so meaty and delicious, I'm like meat candy. When you fry me up, I smell so good, it draws a crowd like free money. I'm so tender.
Wright Brand Bacon, bigger, better bacon. Find out more at biggerbetterbacon.com.
At Advance Auto Parts, we don't just sell parts. Oh, no. We've got the parts you need at prices that put the brakes on your spending. Speaking of brakes, right now, get a $10 Amex Rewards card free by mail when you buy a set of Wherever Gold brake pads and 2 Wherever rotors. Then, complete the job with brake parts from quality brands like Cardone. All the brake parts you need, the price brakes you want.
Advance Auto Parts.
See store for details. Mail-in rebate void where prohibited.
I'm just sick of all the amateur stuff, you know? I mean, like, if I'm paying top dollar, I want a little production value, you know? Like some editing, transition, something, some music.
Don't worry. We didn't leave you.
He's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Our bosses say we gotta stay.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei. It's time for the second hour of The Voice of Ocala. Hoo-ah!
You ever come across anything like time travel?
Come on, stick around. It's free.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you still win.
Hey, welcome to hour 2 of the program, which is live at Gateway Bank. It's Community Gazette Day. Stop by and say hello if you're in the neighborhood, and if the cookies are all there, you'll be lucky because usually Tom attacks them. So come by and just say hi. We're upstairs in the beautiful art gallery. Coming up in a moment, Dr. Willett Boyer joins us to tell about his pursuit of Hernando de Soto, among other things, and the artifacts he's looking for. I want to make a comment briefly. I mentioned this in the first hour regarding what's happening in Washington and some of the bizarre things that we've read about and heard about. And if you listen to this show, you'd realize we don't often comment too much on national politics. It's a local show. But I feel somewhat impelled to express myself on a couple of things because I think what's happening in Washington has been an embarrassment to everybody. This country, the office of the presidency, and for those of you who know my political standing, I'm a moderate. I'm an independent. I can't vote independent because I would if I could vote in the primary. I'd register as one. And I consider myself hopefully a person who's reasonable and someone who can make choices not in regard to a party but in regard to the ideology and the person. I'm disappointed in what I've heard about and seen the last couple of days in Washington, as you all are, on the trifecta of embarrassment that's happened there, and I'm concerned about all of them. The one in particular that disturbs me is the violation of the rights of the people in terms of using the IRS as an investigatory arm to almost harass people, and also getting subpoena phone records for the Associated Press, a news gathering. And one I haven't talked about very much, and one that probably would be the one thing that he has to worry about, if any of it. I think the reason Obama will probably not become Nixon is because he won't try to cover up everything. He has better sense than to try and cover up what's happened. And whether he did know or didn't know about the IRS, it's bad both ways. If he didn't know, then that's bad on him because he should kind of have a better grip of things. If he did know and didn't know anything about it, then that's bad. And then, of course, we have all the other issues that come into play here. And the one about Benghazi, of course, is the one we haven't talked about too much. I said when this first happened earlier this week, this beginning to sound like and smell like a little bit like Watergate. I lived through Watergate. I can tell you what that experience was like. However, I come up short of saying it is Watergate because there we had a president committing a felony by lying and perjuring himself. And the only thing that Obama probably has to worry about, and I don't think he's going to get impeached, don't get me wrong. I know that if I were the Tea Party, I'd probably be trying to do it because, let's face it, they were wrong in this whole thing when it came to applying for nonprofit status. And if it does prove out, and that's the early word, that conservative groups were discriminated against by the group that gives them a validation, then that's a bad thing. And someone's got to pay for that, and the IRS has already been bounced for that. So to get back to the point about Benghazi, Bob Woodward said he believes the parallel does exist somewhat between Watergate and Benghazi. Now, he's not going strong with that, but he says it's a big mess, and he says, I know there have been these comparisons to Watergate, but I would say not yet. He said to Joe Scarborough on the program on NBC, it's MSNBC, I think it is. You've made the point, which I think is absolutely correct, that when you've got to investigate all these things. But, however, a few minutes later, he did say, he said, I have to go back 40 years to Watergate when Nixon put his edited transcripts to the conversations. He personally went through them and said, oh, let's not tell this, let's not show this. I would not dismiss Benghazi. It is very serious. So I think that is the elephant in the room, is the Benghazi situation, how much the president knew, how much and when he knew it, if he knew it before the election, and he purposely covered it up. That's the one Achilles heel the president has to worry about. Hopefully, however, there'll be some great discussions in Congress. I'm sure there will be. This is going to not play itself out to the next political intersection, which will be, of course, in the election coming up. What year is it? 2015, is it?
Yeah, 2014.
So we'll be hearing a lot of that. Meanwhile, there's other
16, excuse me.
2016?
16th president, yeah.
All right, well, it'll be around for a long time, between now and then. Meanwhile, there are other things happening in this world, thank goodness, and among them are people who are digging in the ground and finding interesting things. And that would be our friend, Willett Boyer, who's back with us on the program, and glad to have you, Willett.
Glad to be here, buddy. Thanks so much.
You look awfully clean today. You haven't been digging.
No, I haven't been digging. I've been teaching. One of my other passions is teaching students, and I've had the opportunity to work not just with my students at the College of Central Florida, but with high school students as well. And it's always wonderful to be able to do that. But when you're not out digging, you do get the chance to be a little bit cleaner than usual.
Well, I know you like digging in the dirt, though. When you were a little boy, did you dig in the dirt?
Oh, yes.
Your mother was always saying, well, come in here and wipe your face off.
Yes, with me and both of my brothers, I'm the one that never got over it.
Well, you turned it into a profession. And we're going to take a break here pretty quick. And when we come back, I want to catch up with all the interesting things. I'm looking at the article that you wrote for Golden Leader, a magazine you can't purchase, unfortunately, and can't get online. You have to live in Golden, Ocala to be able to get this. And for those people who saw it, it's called Tracking DeSoto with Dr. Willett Boyer. A picture on the cover that looks like something that was taken during the going to Dust Bowl days. I love it. It looks a throwback, isn't it?
A little bit.
And a very interesting article about DeSoto. And, you've been digging and tracking him, and we'll get your take on that when we come back, and we'll find out what else is on the agenda for you as we get ready for the hot days of summer. We'll take a break. We're live at the Gateway Bank on Community Gazette Day. You're listening to the program Voice of Ocala on
1370 AM, 96.3.
Spit it out, big boy.
I am. WOCA, The Source.
Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to due by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless a recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops. Hi, this is Buddy Martin for WinStar Medical Research. Every day we hear another story about innovation or about the cutting edge of technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. But did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that will impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name WinStar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize WinStar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at WinStar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people are right now. WinStar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend an opportunity to you to be a part of these. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. WinStar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. WinStar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Hi, this is Tom Schmitz, the host of Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA. The Saturday Sports Page is your weekend destination for everything sports, from NASCAR to golf, baseball to boxing, and of course the best, most comprehensive football coverage on the radio. Also, you don't want to miss my weekly Are You Kidding Me rant? So join me and JJ LaSalva every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA, The Source.
WOCA, News Talk 1370. Good talk, great conversation.
Do you wonder why you continue to experience pain? Is your daily routine affected by your body telling you that it hurts? Let us explain why this may be happening to you every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on the Head to Toe Care Show. This is Dr. Riyad Fakuri, board-certified chiropractic orthopedist at the Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic Center, available to serve you and answer any questions that you may have. Again, that's on the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday at 11 a.m. right here on WOCA, The Source.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 a.m. and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA, The Source.
Ocala Radio, WOCA.
Around in a field where we can scream, get away with almost anything. Yeah.
Hi, welcome back to Gateway Bank on a Friday. That means it's Community Gazette Day. I'm Buddy Martin. The program is called The Voice of Ocala. Our guest is Willett Boyer, historian, archaeologist, 7th generation Marion County, and a guy who's teaching right now. Can't wait to go dig in the dirt again. And that's going to happen pretty soon, Willett.
Yep, just about a week from now, we're going to be setting up for the summer field school and working here in the northern part of Marion County, southern part of Alachua County.
I'm reading this article. Of course, I edited this article, too, that you wrote, which is very well done, in the Golden Leader. And if anybody really wants a copy of it, I'll see if I can dig one out. Just, leave a word for me at the radio station. But first of all, I love the cover. Secondly, I got to ask about the hat.
Yes. Well, that's a Pendleton. I started off, when I first started doing this kind of work, with a hat that was leather. I had to give that up because it doesn't let your head breathe. This keeps the sun off my face, keeps the sun off my neck, but allows a little bit of air to get through, and it seasoned to fit my head, so that's been my favorite hat for quite a while.
It's a good look. It's almost Harrison Ford-esque in a way. You know,
I suppose so.
It adds a little character. I like it. I think it's very good. It makes you look very professorial, and I like it. And then in this article called Dr. Willard Boyer Tracking DeSoto, we talked about this a number of times on this show, and you talked about Dr. Ashley White and some of the students at CF and the fact that you're comparing notes on the sites. Talk about the two sites again, and the one where you dug and the things that you found.
All right. Well, the site that is actually pictured here in the article, or at least portions of it, is the site that we discovered 4 years ago now. We had worked there for longer than that, but the actual discovery or confirmation that it was almost certainly the site of Aquera was in 2009, 4 years ago now. And what we're looking at here at the Hutto Martin site is a 17th century Spanish mission. We found the Spanish mission church. We found another structure that appears to be the friary, the house the friar lived in, and we found the area that's the cocina, the kitchen. We've also found literally tens of thousands of Native American artifacts, in addition to many Spanish artifacts. Now, the interesting thing about anything from the colonial period is that, especially with the missions, and even more so with the DeSoto sites, you're looking at a situation where we've got this very limited description of where the sites were. We've just got the vaguest clues in most cases. And the reason why I very strongly believe that this is not just the site, we've absolutely confirmed that this is the 17th century mission of Santa Lucia de Aquera because we've found all of the mission structures that you would find, most particularly the church. You wouldn't have a church structure if you didn't have a manned friar or friary or mission there. But the reason why I also believe this is DeSoto is, in amongst the 17th century Spanish artifacts, it's important to remember that artifacts change in any given culture. I mean, you can see it in our own culture here in the modern day. You can take a look at a photograph of yourself or of your parents from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and you can tell that styles change through time. The same thing is true in the past, and in amongst the 17th century Spanish artifacts at this site, we've also found a small number of much earlier 16th century artifacts. One of the biggest diagnostics we found is olive jar. Olive jar is this clay jar that was fired in Spain. They were made for a very long time, but their styles changed a lot. The ones that you see in the 17th century, which is what we found mostly at the Hutto Martin site, are these big, thick, heavy things, because by then Spain had established her worldwide empire, and they were making these big, rounded vessels that basically were intended to carry wine and olive oil and supplies from the homeland, and they were making a lot of them. 100 years before that, when DeSoto and his soldiers came through, an olive jar would have looked kind of like a pottery canteen. It would have been this rounded thing that had a neck that you could put a cork in, and it would have had a couple of little handles. And in amongst the big pieces of 17th century olive jar we found at this site, we found several pieces of that earlier olive jar, the thinner, smaller, flatter stuff that would have come from this canteen-style vessel. We've also found 3 very diagnostic artifacts from the DeSoto expedition here and some others. The 3 that are most diagnostic, there's a bell called a Clarksdale bell. It was first found out
Clarksdale, Mississippi,
exactly.
Right?
And we have found a Clarksdale bell at this site, and the only place in the United States, in North America, where those bells have been found are sites that are on the DeSoto route. They're known to be associated, because when those bells were new, they would be hung on a horse's harness, and the soldier that was riding them would have that basically for decoration. Also, presumably, if the horse got lost, maybe to try to find them. We've also found a couple of types of beads that stopped being made not long after DeSoto died and his men, the few survivors, escaped. They're called Nueva Cadiz and 7-layer faceted chevron beads, and we found one of each of those at the site. And the thing about DeSoto's Aquera is when you're looking at these clues, it's like you're working at a crime scene. You're trying to look at the artifacts, and you're trying to understand what the people who made them or would have been carrying them were doing. And according to the chronicles, the Aquera were one of the only groups early on that beat the Spanish.
Saying Aquera is spelled A-C-U-E-R-A.
That's right.
And that is geographically exactly where?
Yes. Their territory was what today is the Ocala National Forest, the area between the St. Johns and Ocklawaha rivers, and this is near the southern end of their territory, and this site, I believe, was their capital town.
So it's a pretty good-sized area.
Oh, very good-sized. This site alone covers somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 or 30 acres, and by my estimate, you could have had as many as 2,000 people living there, which was a major town by the standards of the time. But the Aquera only were facing a force of about 40 Spaniards. We think about half and half knights, the soldiers on horseback, and foot soldiers. And the chronicles that talk about this both agree that the Aquera beat the Spanish, that in this particular situation, what normally happened with the Spanish conquering or pushing was reversed. The Aquera apparently beat the Spanish, sent them back to the main camp at Ocala, which we think was in the southwest part of
O-C-A-L-E.
That's exactly right. So what you would have at that site that comes from DeSoto, if I am correct, and this is DeSoto's Aquera, is pretty much just what we're finding. You might have a horseman that was killed or had, his horse shot out from under him. The Indians came along after the battle and took, one or more of the bells from the harness. You might have a Spanish foot soldier running that drops his canteen, that drops the little olive jar he's carrying, and it breaks. You might have a dead Spaniard. The Indians might plunder it and find beads of that kind of thing. But the point being, at DeSoto's Aquera, you'd only find a few artifacts because the whole army wasn't there, and they weren't there very long. At other sites, you would find where the army actually stayed, where you have all hundreds of men that are there, you'd find what you're finding at the Ashley White site, which is that you'd find a lot more fragments of olive jar from the early period. You'd find broken fragments of chainmail armor. You'd find the kind of thing that people that are staying at a place for a little while would leave behind.
Yep. Well, I wanted to just jump in there and say that, first of all, I don't know what DeSoto's intentions were. He was not coming here, however, just to be friends with the Native Americans.
No.
It was a buddy time.
No.
And I noticed in your article you wrote that he came with 9 ships, 620 Spanish and Portuguese volunteers, heavily armored with equipment, more than 500 livestock, and horses and soldiers and pigs, whatever. So this is a major, I don't want to say offensive, but certainly they planned to clear the way up from Bradenton. Anything got in their way, they were going to bowl it over. Mm-hmm. However, at Aquero, they met a little resistance and I was interested in this note in your story about how the Aquero actually wrote back to him in disdain of what they thought of him. They want to be their friends. And this note says, I have long since learned who you Castilians are. Though others of you who came here years ago to my land, I already know you very well, what your customs are and behavior like. To me, you are professional vagabonds who wander from place to place, gaining your livelihood of robbing, sacking, and murdering people who have given you no offense. I want no manner of friendship or peace with people such as you, but instead prefer mortal and perpetual enmity. That's pretty well written and strongly worded.
That's right. Now, of course, it's important to remember that the men with DeSoto weren't actually writing things down, except one of them. His secretary, night by night and day by day, would be writing things down, and his name was Rodrigo Rangel, but it is very strongly written, and it to me, it has the feel of accuracy because it captures pretty well what, Native Americans who had lived here for, and their ancestors for thousands of years would feel with these strangers coming through. And the thing that excites me the most about this particular site is that it's very near, as you mentioned, I'm a 7th-generation native, but I grew up in that area, not 5 or 6 miles away, and I remember driving near the area where this site is located hundreds of times when I was a kid growing up, and it's exciting to understand that this, extraordinary adventure, this beginning part of American history happened right here.
Right here in our backyard.
Precisely. Very much so.
Willett Boyer's our guest. Willett now is a professor at Central Florida. He's I got a lot of digs going on, and take us to the next stage now. You had some interesting digs. You've got one to the north of here. You've got one to the south
west of here, and you've got one downtown that you've had, and now you're going to be digging downtown again soon.
That's correct. What we're looking at right now, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be starting the dig in the northern part of Marion County, the southern part of Alachua County.
There's photographs of that in here, and it doesn't say where it is. The first time you've ever published photographs of the site that I know of.
That's correct. That's exactly
so there is a photograph of doesn't say where it is, but
that's right. That's exactly it. The two sites we'll be working at for the next several months. One of them is a site that you actually came out to before, buddy, when we did our initial testing.
Right.
The other is a little to the north of that, but I mentioned that a site that's associated with DeSoto's Army would have a lot of these early artifacts. And if there was a mission there later, on top of the earlier artifacts would be the later Spanish artifacts from the 1600s. This site fits that description exactly, the northernmost one we're working at this time. We've already, in our initial testing, found dozens of earlier Spanish artifacts as well as later ones. We found hundreds of Native American artifacts, and this site fits almost perfectly the description of the town that DeSoto referred to as Patano. And that same town, that same area, 100 years later, actually not quite 100, in 1606, the year before Jamestown was founded, one of the first missions west of the St. Johns River was founded at this site called San Buenaventura de Patano, if it's the one I'm thinking. Now, I just had the opportunity, as I mentioned to you in the break, to come back from the meeting of the Florida Anthropological Society in St. Augustine this past weekend. That's the meeting, the statewide meeting of professional avocational archaeologists. There's a lot of discussion about the finds here, a lot of people asking questions about the sites that we found, we being both myself and also Dr. White. And confirming the identity of this upcoming site we're working at is going to be something very important, because right now the thought among some people is that the site is DeSoto's Patano. Dr. Gerald Milanich, who is a former curator at the Florida Museum of Natural History, is now retired, is the one that has argued that point. Jerry and I had a long, discussion this weekend where I essentially said, I respect your opinion, but I think you're wrong. I think this other site is the site we're looking at. And, of course, in order to make that claim, we have to have more proof. So what we're going to be doing, starting in a couple of weeks, is actually opening up large excavation units to see if we can find a mission church, to see if we can find other things, and, of course, also, as we're digging, to see if we find more evidence of DeSoto artifacts, like another Clarksdale bell, like fragments of armor or crossbow bolt heads. And at both of these sites, we're also going to be testing, because the second site, I think, was a second mission, if I'm correct, that we know that the mission that was at the later site was founded at the same time as a second mission in the same area, and both of these sites have 17th century components. So that's going to be exciting. And then a little later on this summer, we're going to be back in downtown Ocala. We're waiting on the word from city officials, but we're going to be doing the next phase of the section where the linear park is going to go. This particular phase runs from around City Hall up along Osceola Avenue. And that's exciting from a more recent perspective, because we're going to be going right by the area where the historic records say the Great Fire actually started, where the original fire that got out of control and burned the city to the ground began. We'll also be in the area that has some of the earliest parts of the settlement. So we're hoping to find some of the oldest American artifacts and maybe some of the first American structures from the very first settlers that founded the downtown after Fort King was abandoned.
That'll be fascinating. That's what the last one, all the things you found there, from the apothecary and all the other things that went on there. So
that's right.
We'll follow your progress on that. One more time, I don't know if you're looking for volunteers. You probably got plenty now as students. But if you do you need volunteers? If you do, how would people get a hold of you?
Very good. And to be frank, we can always use volunteers. The whole focus of my work or research here is not just to do the archaeological work, but it's to involve the public and teach people by doing that. We will welcome volunteers of any age who would like to participate. You can get in touch with me via two email addresses. The best one is my school email address, which is BOYERW, BoyerW at cf.edu. Again, that's BoyerW, all lowercase, at cf.edu. The best way to get in touch with me is via my cell phone. I have that all the time, and my number is 352-665-5762. And if you're interested in coming out or volunteering, we can get you a volunteer form. We can get you set up and bring you a part of the schedule. A lot of the work will be done by the students participating in the field school, but we can always use volunteers.
Fascinating. Good luck on the dig. Thanks for coming by, Willett.
Thanks so much, buddy.
Willett Boyer, with us catching up on the latest digs. We'll take a break, come back. We'll talk more about the Washington situation and exactly what's going on up there. We've got tweets and quotes and the latest news right here on the Voice of Ocala. Stay tuned to
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Are you looking for a trustworthy auto care company that won't sell you something you don't need? Look no further than Affordable Auto Air and Care. Affordable Auto Air and Care has serviced Ocala for a decade and is family owned and operated. They offer quality parts at affordable prices, and they even include a 1-year or 12,000-mile warranty on their parts and labor. Their certified technicians work on any type of vehicle, even RVs. They specialize in auto AC, but they also offer oil changes, brake service, filters, tune-ups, shocks, axles, complete auto repair. Affordable Auto Air and Care is located at 1841 Northwest 4th Avenue on the corner of Old Jacksonville Road and 441. Call 352-401-0011 to book an appointment. That's 352-401-0011. Affordable Auto Air and Care. Complete auto repair. Take it from me, Tom Schmitz. I'm a customer.
Recently, I had a great conversation with General Manager Pat Murray on the special events at Country Club of Ocala.
We have a lot of special events here that are geared towards the family. Easter comes to mind. We have an Easter bunny who hops around on the driving range. We usually hide somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 eggs and turn them loose and let them go harvest the eggs. We have a great family celebration here on the 4th of July where it's a traditional cookout, if you will. And as the sun goes down, the driving range becomes alive with probably one of the better fireworks displays in the area. Breakfast with Santa is a big deal.
Country Club of Ocala, where the Easter Bunny, Santa, and all the children, large and small, are a big deal on every special occasion. For more information, call 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of the Monday Gator Report right here on The Source.
Accident, injured, hurting. Pain affects so many of us and keeps us from enjoying our daily routine. This is Dr. Riyad Fakuri, board-certified chiropractic orthopedist at the Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic Center. Let me visit with you to answer your questions. Let us help you help yourself on the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. on WOCA. Again, that's Dr. Riyad Fakuri here to help you on the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. on WOCA, The Source.
Howdy, folks. RL here to invite you to Dairy Queen for a great new meal. Dairy Queen's now serving 3 different $5 meals. Hot dogs with chili, cheese, slaw, whatever. Quarter pound with cheese, loaded up any way you like it. Solid filet chicken tenders. And each meal comes with fries, a drink, and a sundae for only $5. You got that right. Nobody beats that deal. A great value and a great meal. So come on down to Dairy Queen at Silver Springs where they always treat you like kings and queens.
This is a public notice. Local residents can now save thousands of dollars on their next car, truck, or SUV. It's not a tent sale, because no tent is big enough to hold this many cars. It's ocalaforsale.com. Say goodbye to sticker shock. Ocalaforsale.com has thousands of vehicles with no stickers at all. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to ocalaforsale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting less per thing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
This is Don with ABC Frederick's Appliance. Here's my daughter, Lena.
And hey, everybody, it's Lena. You need to come down to ABC Frederick's Appliance on County Road 25, just over the railroad tracks in Bellevue, where you are treated right with the right products, like Whirlpool, Maytag, Crosley, and Speed Queen. These are the new ones. Don't forget, we also carry used appliances that we warranty. ABC Frederick's Appliance does repairs, too. Call us at 629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance on County Road 25, just over the railroad tracks in Bellevue. It's at 629-5181.
News Talk 1370. WOCA invites you to discover your full business potential. News Talk Radio is the perfect environment for your advertising. WOCA's News Talk format pinpoints information-hungry, better educated, high-income adults. So use us to talk to them. Call 732-8000. 732-8000. We're Ocala News Talk Radio. News Talk 1370 WOCA.
Ever watch the sun go down from the bed of a pickup?
I Right, welcome back to the Voice of Ocala on a Friday at Gateway Bank. In a moment, we'll have tweets and quotes. A little bit more about the situation in the White House, and I'll be done with that. Here's a surprising story. You know, the Republican base is totally re-energized after what happened with the, as they're calling it, the trifecta of screw-ups. More than the late night guys are having a lot of fun with that, and so they're chomping at the bit. But of all people, Newt Gingrich, who's never been one known for his restraint, says he says they need to be careful and not overreact. He says Republicans need to be, quote, calm and factual when dealing with scandals, and use his own experience pushing for Bill Clinton's impeachment as an example of overreach. He said, I think we overreached in 1998, he told NPR. He said, and he feels like that if the Republicans do the same thing, the result might be the same thing. So Gingrich said Republicans, quote, should invite every single Tea Party, conservative patriot group that was messed over by the IRS, every single one of them, to come in and testify so they can build this deadening record of how many different people were having their rights abused by this administration. I think he's right. I think if you want to be really effective, instead of being knee-jerk about it and calling for impeachment, get the facts. Just have endless testimonies for people to say, yeah, there's people just absolutely dying to tell the story. And, of course, it just fulfills the expectations of what Tea Party people were saying about this country, that big government's out of control, that Big Daddy's watching you, that he's messing with you, and now they have something to hang your hat on. So I was kind of surprised to hear Gingrich saying, let's be a little calmer and get the facts. But if the Republicans want to get back in the ball game, and they're back in it now thanks to this, and they want to be a serious contender coming up in elections, at least on a national level, I think this is the way to go.
Without a doubt, it's the way to go. Newt Gingrich, and let's remember, this is a guy that's got plenty of experience in Congress. He did the agreement with America, or the contract with America in 94,
Mm-hmm.
and then he overreacted in 98, as he said. And that's what I as a Republican, understand that there's a lot of chum in the water right now for the sharks to go after. But wait, take a step back and get all the information. Not because all the information may change your viewpoint, but all the information gives you the whole story. And we live in a Twitter age where we don't want the whole story. We want just to jump on it as quick as we can. But the seriousness of this and the repercussions of what could happen throughout the entire national government, you need to take a step back and get all the facts first because let's face it, you don't want to see somebody wrongly persecuted for this if they weren't the person. And right now, it looks like Eric Holder is on the hot seat and everything, but lo and behold, Eric Holder, he said he recused himself from this discussion. It was the deputy attorney general that actually signed the orders for the AP tapping. So we
what
need to
happened
get
on his watch, though?
I understand that, but we need to get all the facts to make sure we get the right people that are responsible for it, and make sure we don't erroneously tap some people for being responsible for it that weren't.
Yeah, the Obama administration has just served up a home run ball.
Oh, without a doubt.
Big, fat pitch coming across the plate. The question is, are the Republicans going to swing too hard at it? All they got to do is make contact with it, and they're going to probably benefit from it. So we'll follow that with interest, and we continue to try to get the facts and know what's going on. But there's no question it's made things very interesting politically. We're going to see lots and lots of hearings on Capitol Hill in the next month and years to come. I want to mention, too, I'm still looking for information on the power plant. On this show yesterday, we talked about the fact that there's been a change there. I read the ocala.com story. I've done some research on it. I've talked off the record with several key people. I'm going to invite Kevin Reed and Kevin Shealy to the show, see if they will come on and talk, not together necessarily, although I'll take that. And I want to know what happened, because I think we put so much of our emphasis on the power plant in our community and had such high expectations, and then suddenly to have this whole thing just turned upside down, although the Shealy folks are putting the word out that they're going to be stronger than ever, that they're going to be able to come back with it and put a big emphasis on development of the business and ideas. So we're getting different stories as might be expected. But I think we have to keep asking the question, and asking people to come forward. What happened at the power plant? What does the future hold? So that's something I'll be talking about almost every day for a few minutes on this show. So hopefully we get some answers for those people who would like to come on the show or otherwise. Meanwhile, we haven't heard much from John Travolta lately. Guess what he's up to, Tom?
Flying his airplane, playing some golf.
No, he's actually made a movie. And he's Dave Slinker from the Star Banner caught up with him. Apparently he's picking his kid up from school. And so
yeah. Waiting for him in the car line. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Slinker's article on ocala.com talks about his what he's got going on. He's getting ready to fly across the country and do and promote this movie, Killing Season. You heard about this? With Robert De Niro. It opens in July. So he'll be doing the red carpet stuff. He's going to Peru and London for appearances for the Swiss watchmaker Breitling, Breitling, Breitling. And so he's in his airplane. He's doing movies and promoting movies. So just a little note there on the story today in ocala.com by Dave Slinker. All right, one more little item.
We got a caller on line one, but if you want to take a call.
Sure, go ahead. We'll take it.
Hugh, line one. Hugh, how are you today?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hey, Hugh.
Speaking about Travolta, I know that the tabloids in the grocery stores, I know it's a bunch of junk and that, but boy, it's been a lot of Travolta and his wife and divorce and this and that and all that. I don't know if you've seen it yourself or not.
Have not, no.
You haven't?
No, I've not.
Not that I pick it up and read it, but when you're waiting in line, your eyes are glancing through all these different papers and stuff, and it's just a pile of stuff lately about him and his troubles and everything else, which don't mean nothing. But
well, it does mean something, but you don't know what the source is. You never know about the tabloids.
Right.
Unfortunately, they get it right sometimes, and you never know when they're going to be right, when they're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'd read them in the grocery lines. Having said that, however, nobody buys the National Enquirer. Yet it sells like $2.5 million all the time.
Right.
So, but nobody buys it, So
yeah. How you playing the Derby tomorrow?
I'm kind of become an orb believer. I just don't know how good this horse is. And talking with Michael Compton today, he's in Preakness, he said the people around him, including Shug McGahee, said they're not people who blow their own horn much. Or they don't blow smoke.
Right.
They're just all over this horse and think he is absolutely the real deal. And the scary part is he's getting better and better and better in his workouts. He's getting stronger all the time.
Yeah.
Remember, these are 3-year-olds. These are like redshirt sophomores,
Right, exactly.
And so they're getting better and stronger.
Right.
And this horse, if you look back at that race, ran such a magnificent race in the mud to come from where he did.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see if this shorter track will make a difference. Michael said yesterday on his segment, Horse Country, that he didn't think it would. So I guess until somebody else proves him different, I think Orb is the horse to beat. They're going to be prohibitive odds, less than even money.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're going to have an entirely different track situation there, and so any other given horse on a normal track, or what you want to call it, who knows what's going to happen? Yep.
What are you going? Who are you going with, Hugh?
Well, I'm not going to bet this time, but like I told you when I called last time, my wife always bets on Packer football quarterback numbers, and she had number 4, which was I forget the name of the horse, and that horse would have won if the one that won would have came back away from the back and won,
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's going to be betting on number 4 again, but we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what that horse can do on a dry track.
Yeah, I'll be watching. Actually, he may be better in the mud. Who knows? He might be one of those mudders. You never know.
We'll find out tomorrow. It'll be very exciting to watch it and see what happens.
You got it, Hugh. Thanks for the call.
You bet. Take care, you guys.
Appreciate that. You gotta love Hugh. He's such a loyal listener and caller. He's great.
You know what I don't love? You right now. I'm on Facebook. Just went on to Facebook. It says Buddy Martin, Voice of Ocala. That's you, correct?
I guess.
Says search the Voice of Ocala on Facebook and like our page. If you don't, we'll send Tom Schmitz to your house to sing karaoke. So what are you saying there, pal?
Man, we're getting a lot of people liking the page all of a sudden. I wonder what that was.
Well, I don't know.
Sounds like a little handiwork of Sean Down Goes Frazier to me. Tweaking the public there. Come to your house. That's a little scary.
And sing karaoke.
I don't know which is worse, him coming to your house or singing karaoke. Both of them are pretty scary. So
Josh LaSalva right now on the phone calling 5 or 6 of his friends to get them to like the
Facebook page. Hey, did you hear about this guy, the Hatchet Man? You hear this story? This is bizarre. Caleb McGilvery. He's called Kai the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. He was apparently he was a homeless hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. Became an internet hero earlier this year. He was arrested for allegedly beating a New Jersey lawyer to death inside of his home now. Caleb Kai McGilvery, whose star turned as Kai the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker, came after he intervened in an attack on a California utility worker, was arrested in Philadelphia at the bus station, and he says, and the county prosecutor says, I believe everyone's a little safer with this person off the streets. Philadelphia police could not be reached for comment, but apparently McGilvery was charged with killing Joseph Galfy Jr., a Clark, New Jersey attorney found dead Monday. He'll be processed and sent back to New Jersey, set for bail of $3 million. Anyway, the interesting thing is apparently there was a posting on a Facebook on a Facebook page when someone talked about using a hatchet to do somebody in, and he posted, that sounded like a good idea to me, and he went out and did it. So it's a little scary, the hatchet.
Wow.
So, strange. All right, we'll take a break, come back, we'll do tweets and quotes, wrap up this hour, go into sports next. Stay tuned to the Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and a coffee pot is always on. Call your good neighbor's State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 294-2444.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day. Whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands, at Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
On Mondays, AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Torkel S. Wachter, the son of German-Jewish parents who suffered under the Nazi regime. He's an historian and he trained as a diver in the Royal Swedish Navy. He's written a book. It's called The Investigation, a true story as recorded by Tori Wachtel's paternal grandfather and father.
Open for debate, where both sides of one issue will be debated.
And then Jeanette Carpenter will be on with us, a brand expert featured on the Hot 97, Radio Disney, and iPower 92.1, coming out to speak about the book, Starting a Nonprofit, Leadership, Programs, and Branding.
Have all of your vehicle questions answered by Matt Gibbs, owner of Sunrise Automotive, on auto repair with personal care.
And then Congressman Richard Nugent will be on to tell us what's going on up in Washington, D.C.
Pastor Luis DeJesus is the pastor of New Hope Church. He'll be speaking about the God Belongs in My City prayer walk that is happening in our area on Saturday, June the 1st.
All of that plus Fun with Joe on Mondays, AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
In Clark, we trust.
Hi, this is Clark Howard. Join me every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA 1370, The Source.
Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hello? Can you hear me? Because if you can, then so can your customers. Radio works. Call today to advertise your business right here on WOCA 1370, The Source.
1370 WOCA.
Get you some of this slow down fast. I'll take you up and down these hollers and hills. Let me show you how country feels.
All right, welcome back to the program. Final segment before we go to sports here. Coming up in the sports hour, we'll catch up on the latest news about the NBA. We got high school sports, youth sports with Josh LaSalva. Joe Williams will join us, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's happening with the Preakness. And I've got a little anecdote or two to tell you about regarding Dick Trickle, something I read today, and a fabulous story I read on Phil Jackson this morning by a guy, New York Times, Sam Anderson, which I'm going to read you some. I thought it was just one of the best pieces I've ever read. And on Jackson, nobody's done it better, so I really like this story a lot. I got it offline today, and I'll share that with you. Right now it's time to do our tweets and quotes, JJ. If you can roll the tape on our little song there, we'll get to it. Okay, number one, this from Philip Arnold. I don't know who he is. He said, humanity looks to the stars for advice, but pays no attention to the divine within. Here's an incredible OMG fact. I love that site, OMG Facts. This is almost unbelievable that this is true. In 1963, it was not a federal offense to assassinate the president. We know what happened that year, of course. And finally, a little humor shed on the situation in Washington by none other than Conan O'Brien. He says, President Obama is embroiled in 3 scandals. After hearing this, Bill Clinton said, amateur. Exactly. All right. So, NBA is a topic of conversation today. Knicks are hanging on life support, and the Golden State Warriors are gone. I heard a speech today by Mark Jackson saying that he'll never, even if his team wins the NBA title, he'll never be prouder of a team than the one he had this year. He said he had not one single incident at all in the locker room the entire year. Now, in a room full of NBA prima donnas, that's almost impossible to believe, isn't it? I'd have had to have seen it to believe it. Yeah. JJ, you had a little story earlier about a woman who had two hands replaced. She had that viral disease.
Yeah, there was that girl about a year ago.
Out of Georgia.
Yeah, Amy Copeland.
She the one that in the river where she came up and fell over? Yeah, okay.
She lost 2 hands and a foot. Apparently, a company donated electronic bionic hands, buddy. So now she has 2 Luke Skywalker hands. Wow. She was able to pick up chips and eat them. She's able to move 24 different movements. So we're turning into Star Wars, slowly but surely, buddy. This is actually insane. I had no idea they even existed. They only cost $100,000 a piece.
IHMC does that kind of stuff all the time right here in Ocala. Yeah, and it is amazing, right, JJ? It's like, what's his name? What's his name? The guy Pistorius, who had the now up for murder charges. Yeah, now for murder charges, exactly. With no legs, and it's getting to a point where I guess that's the technology that's come out of the war. You know, so many people without limbs, and it's a bad news, good news thing, and remarkable that someone can build a hand that actually works. Pretty soon, they'll be able to build any body part.
Well, didn't you?
Probably on a copier.
You knew this was coming, remember, 1975 and 76. We have the technology. We can rebuild him. We can make him faster, stronger. Steve Austin, the $6 million man.
Of course, it's here. I'm about a $50,000 man.
Yeah, that is, exactly.
All right, it's going to wrap up 2 hours here. We've got one to go with the guys here. We've got Sean, down goes Frazier. Josh LaSalva getting ready to go in and do his trip at 5:30 on the High School Sports. Tom Smith joins me. J.J. LaSalva back in the studio.
Mike DeRocco coming up at 5:15, and Joe Williams. Stay tuned to the Voice of Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
She grew up in an Indiana town, had a good-looking mama who never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up right with them Indiana boys on an Indiana night.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase process affects trade allowance.
Mayday! Mayday! Our buyer blew it. He ordered 38 cars instead of 8, and now we have got way too much inventory.
Hey, this is Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. I've got to sell these 30 cars extra fast. I'm going spastic, so I've got to do something drastic.
Qualified buyers with $5 down can drive a nicer, newer car today. Who knew $5 could get you a nicer, newer car?
Well, it can, because I'm in a jam.
Is bad credit causing you distress? My For the People credit approval process just may save the day. Get approved for a nicer, newer car you'll love. Mayday! Mayday! Get down to Prestige Auto Sales right away. The Mayday madness ends after we've cleared 37 cars.
My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales or call 694-1234. See you at Prestige.
Hi, I'm Lisa Midget with Kinetic Motion Fitness, Ocala's premier small group and personal training fitness studio. Did you know you can achieve all your fitness goals, whether that's losing weight, getting fit, or training for a personal best, all with no membership fees? Have you ever been embarrassed or intimidated at a big gym because you're not a Greek god or a size 0 supermodel? Have you ever felt like your gym would rather you not even show up? At KMF, we have a team approach that focuses on small classes and personal training, and you'll feel like family, not just another number. No more boring treadmills or endless reps. Our classes are fun, energetic, and get you the results you want. And I should know, with the help of our great trainers, I lost over 100 pounds in 8 jean sizes, and I did it using no heavy equipment and no magic pills. Just fun and effective workouts. And yes, I did say fun. Come join us at KMF. Visit our website at kmfocala.com or like us on Facebook. Again, that was kmfocala.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA, The Source.
Call me crazy. Some people say insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. I think insanity is 1,000 single-sided, full-color business cards for $15, or packing service for 50% off. Call me crazy. Regency Printing, on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Look for the yellow signs.
You've got a garden, and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA, The Source.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
How good does it get? Golf has long been considered to be sport's most prestigious game, and WOCA has your connection to everything in the golf world. Every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m., tune in for Let's Talk Golf with your host, PGA professional and teacher to the stars, Jim Beckett, and operations manager for the Links of Spruce Creek South, Darren Irwin, right here on The Source. Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
WOCA. You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Daria Albinger, so how'd you like to take $2 and turn it into $600 million? You could do that if you win tomorrow night's record Powerball jackpot. There's also a $190 million Mega Millions drawing tonight. Your chances of winning them both, about 1 in 30 quadrillion. Go on, look at your 401k statement. You'll like what you see. You probably made money. The Dow closed at a record high. British researchers are focused on a new technique which could help women who want to have babies through IVF. It involves taking thousands of time-lapsed photos of developing embryos, their incubator. That could give doctors a better idea of which ones to implant. The outgoing head of the IRS says his agency isn't politically biased, but that it made a lot of stupid mistakes. House committee wants to know if the taxman targeted conservative political groups who were seeking tax-exempt status. Beyonce says she wanted a sibling for little Blue Ivy. She may not have to wait much longer. E! News is reporting that the singer is pregnant with her second child. This is ABC News.
At Advance Auto Parts, the power to choose is your Advance advantage. So right now, you can choose from a 5+ quarts jug, a Valvoline or Pennzoil Conventional Motor Oil Plus, a DriveWorks filter for just $19.99. You'll save about $10. The power to choose plus the power to save. Can you feel that power? Oh, yeah! Choose and save. That's your Advance advantage. Only at Advance Auto Parts. See store for details.
I know my business, but I don't know much about creating a website.
Who has the time to create their own website?
I always thought a website would cost a lot of money. Then I discovered Wix.com.
Wix.com was the perfect solution.
It's so easy. You choose a beautiful design, write what you want to say, and move your images where you want them. No coding, no confusion.
And the best part is that Wix.com is absolutely free.
No matter what size your business, people don't take you seriously unless you have a professional-looking website. Create your own stunning website for free at Wix.com. That's Wix.com.
How much time? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Okay. Enough kidding around.
Ho, 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 ho. Ho, ho, ho.
And now it's time for the Buddy Martin Sports Page.
He actually had me stay here last night in his gym.
It's like I don't fit in. It's like I don't belong here.
Let's go talk to a couple of guys that never gamble.
Oh, see, I made Lewis a bet here. See, Lewis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put you on the phone house at the same time. He didn't think we could do it.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
And now, here's Buddy.
Hi, welcome back to the program. It's Friday. We're at Gateway Bank. That means it's the Friday Drive. It's time now to talk to our sponsor of Friday Drive, Chris Spears from out in Prestige Auto. 2 locations to serve you, and I've got a very satisfied customer sitting right next to me, Chris.
Well, tell me more. Tell me more.
He'll tell you. Go ahead, Tom.
Buddy, you always hear Chris says that he doesn't like to give people he likes to help people out of bad situations. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend was in a bad situation. We won't tell you with who.
She had been bad because of you.
But
just kidding.
She was in a very bad car deal with a national car lot.
Well, so you went to see the Yes Man?
So I went to see Chris and told him the story and told Chris the parameters, and he put her in a very acceptable car for a very acceptable price. And
that looked pretty like a hot car to me. I saw it.
And it all happened with 2 meetings and sitting down with Chris and explaining the story. The paperwork was very easy, in and out inside of about the day we picked up the car, in and out inside of about 45 minutes and got it done. And she is very happy with her car and stress-free because she's out from under a very bad car deal from another car lot.
Well, there you go. It doesn't get any better than that, Chris.
No, sir. That's very generous that that you
you referred a friend to me, and I take that as a serious obligation. And that Tom came in and sat down, told me the story, and just like you said, there was sometimes in life the deck changes on you, and it changed for her, and it just needed to be made right, and we're very fortunate. And I knew I had an exceptional amount of pressure to make something happen because I had my TV guys in front of me, and so but it was a joy to meet him and get to know him on a little different level than over the phone here. But we were honored to help another one of your referrals, Buddy Martin, Assistant Mayor of Ocala.
Well, I know about that, but I do know that we don't make this stuff up. This is not just we talk about it. People think it's just a paid commercial, but when we talk about it, we're serious, and we back it up because we send our friends and family out there and would do so again. And were I buying a car, the first place I'd go would be Prestige Auto. So I can't say anything stronger than that, Chris.
I appreciate it, buddy, and you tout me as the yes man, so I'm just trying to live up to it. And last weekend's paper on Friday and Saturday, we had our good newsletter go out, and it's in a lot of the restaurants in town at Panera and the Wolfies and stuff. And they're putting the consumer advocate and trusted advisor. And you just take another second here. I had 2 or 3 different families and spent 45 minutes with a guy today. These are folks that have bought cars elsewhere. Some 2 weeks or 3 weeks into it, they realized that things weren't what they were told, and I'm honored. I wish at the time I would have had the car for these folks, but these are folks that I've never met until they got into a bad car deal someplace else, and they're calling me and asking me advice on what to do next. And it's unfortunately there's more of these calls coming in than not that I care to take, but that are happening. So a trusted advisor, consumer advocate, and you're a yes man. That's what I'm trying to be.
And if you need a car, there's your testimony. You have 2 locations to serve you. Chris will be around this weekend. Go out on the State Road 200 or you're down to Bellevue and check out. Or go on the Wine and go into Prestige for You, Prestige, the number 4, letter U.com. He's got some cars you can look at and go kick the tires. He'll make a deal for you. Am I right, Chris?
Yes, sir. We got it. I told you last week that we'd overbought a little bit, and our Drive for 5 program's going on. And with lender approval, we got we needed to sell 37 cars before that program ended, and we're better than halfway through it. So if anybody out there's looking, we've still got about another 10 or 15 units left on our Drive for 5 program. So this would be a great weekend to come see me.
So you're motivated to sell. You have a great weekend, Chris. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Chris.
All right. Tom.
Chris Spears. All right, there you go. I mean, that's it. That's how it works.
Can't ask for a better testimonial than that. I ain't making it up.
Yeah.
She's driving a nice car.
It's not your first time out there going this. It's the second time you've been there.
Right.
So, and I've been out in my son. But so anyway, that's just not commercial. It's just to say it's nice when you can do something for people and it works.
And he's the good thing about Chris is he talks about how come in and see him, and that's exactly who you can go see. He works there too, and he's accessible to you.
Yeah. You know who else works? JJ. He's always there. He's there available. And he's always got headlines like he's got right now, right, JJ?
Yes, of course.
What you got?
Not a lot today. I was actually in the middle of looking for my Florida Gator at Miami Hurricane tickets. Yes, very excited. But there was some basketball last night. The Knicks hold on for one more game at least against the Pacers. They won by 10. They didn't play too well, but they played a lot better than the Pacers without George Hill, who sat out because of a concussion. That was sort of a last-second thing. Nobody expected that to happen. He played the rest of Game 5. They had 19 turnovers. It's kind of tough without your starting point guard. They don't have a lot of depth at that position. People came off the Smith, like Chris Copeland, J.R. Smith for the Knicks last night, 13 points each. It's 3-2. It's going back to Indiana, so they have to win one more to get it back to the Garden. Also last night, San Antonio beat the Warriors 4-2. Great season by the Warriors, who never really make the playoffs that often. They got to the second round, had a chance to win. If they would have pulled off that Game 1 victory, which they gave up like the last 16 points of regulation or something like that to lose the lead, this could have been a whole different series.
What's amazing about this, you mentioned the injury to George Hill, a concussion, and the fact is, once again, an injury plays a part, like David Lee did for the Golden State. We've had so many injuries now, and it seems like we certainly had a situation with Oklahoma City, and getting star players hurt, and it's come into play in every case. And I think the Knicks will probably be done after this. They're going to go back to the Indianapolis.
I hope it goes. I would love to see a Game 7 in the Garden. That would be awesome.
Well, as Reggie Miller said last night, and he talked about it, said this is a tough place to close out a team.
And he would know better than anybody
He would
else.
know very well. He did it, but it took a lot. A good basketball game last night. So at this point in time, what we got up for? What's next on the agenda for the schedule for the NBA game?
There's no NBA games tonight, and then tomorrow night will be Game 6. So the rest of the series are over. There's only that one more series. In the NFL, Rob Gronkowski today might need another back surgery.
Is it back or arm?
Back surgery. He went an MRI today on his back to check on a disc issue from last season, according to ESPN and other media outlets. So not very good, and one of the most interesting players in the NFL.
He won't be out doing the gator or whatever the dance was he was doing.
And a day after the New York Jets already lost one of their quarterbacks from retirement, their running back, Mike Goodson, brand new from the Raiders, was arrested today.
Drug
charges and handgun charges.
Oh, boy.
So, who knows what? Listen, in that state, they don't really take handgun charges too lightly. Look what happened with Plaxico Burress.
Absolutely. He ruined his career.
He was a bigger superstar than Mike Goodson ever could be. So.
Mike who?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys read the story about Phil Jackson's
Yeah, I was
book?
about to bring that up. We talked about it a little off the air yesterday. I don't think we actually talked about it, but there's excerpts from his book coming out now. It's entitled 11 Rings, The Soul of Success. Of course it's called that. And he compares Kobe and Jordan in a lot of different aspects. And the one people were pointing out the most is, he said, one of the biggest differences between the two stars from my perspective was Michael's superior skills as a leader. And then he goes on to talk about, how Kobe...
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, JJ, but what's really interesting to me, if you read the story by Sam Anderson from the New York Times, which I did today, fabulous piece of writing, wrote about Jackson, about his book, and about all his peculiarities and what a complex man he was. And he covered everything about Phil Jackson. A beautiful portrait of the guy. I'd highly recommend it if you get a chance to read today's New York Times online. And I'm just going to read a little excerpt. I was so impressed with this. This is by Sam Anderson. He talks about the length and size of the court. Jackson, of course, as we know, is brilliant. He has all these philosophies and theories about Native Americans and Gandhi and how this all fits the game and the spiritual side of basketball. But he says in this article, the court should be lengthened and widened, Jackson said, to accommodate the athleticism of today's players. How many times have we said that on this show? It should be bigger. Timeouts and commercial breaks need to be cut back to restore the sport's natural flow. Amen to that. Refereeing is a mess. They should stand closer to the action the way they did in the old days so they can see the fouls better. They also need to find a way to control illegal contact, defensive players holding, offensive players pushing off. He talks about LeBron James's arm he uses to push people off. He says James Naismith invented basketball as the anti-football sport, a sport in which brute violence would be replaced by free-moving fluidity, but excessive contact has destroyed fluidity. Also, today's players are allowed to cheat when they dribble. They routinely put their hand under the ball, which, of course, as we know, is carrying the ball, which gives them far too much control. As a result, the game has become much more dependent on dribbling, less on motion and passing and teamwork. Overall, Jackson thinks the NBA should aspire to be more like soccer, JJ, which has managed to remain a global juggernaut without corrupting the sanctity of its game. How's that for a
And you know what I like about soccer, and I say this every single time I watch an NBA game, they even sort of do in hockey. They should allow play to go on if you have an advantage after they foul you. If they foul LeBron off the ball at half court while Wade's going against no one to the basket, they call a foul and stop play. In soccer, hockey, you let play go. It's called an advantage. Let me keep an advantage so you don't have an advantage by fouling me. I think it ruins the game. It happens all the time, at least 5 or 6 times a game.
He says all soccer involves triangles. Of course, he loves the triangle.
triangles.
He does, and as a writer talked about how he sat at a dinner table and he said he started drawing on this paper napkins, these triangles, all these things, and he had to go out to the car and get some paper for him. He came back, he wrote 20 pages of scribbling describing the game, you know. And he says he also he likes to talk to baseball managers. He grew up playing baseball. He thinks he can be a good coach in baseball. He's even told Jerry Reinsdorf, he said he's available to coach the White Sox. So anyway, interesting guy.
He's crazy, dude.
Getting up there in years, 67. But the stories about how basketball won't leave him alone. They just keep calling. So could go to work anytime, any place he wanted to, probably, and any job. So
it's got to be a good book.
Got to be a good book. I'm looking forward to reading it. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. We'll talk to Mike DiRocco. What's up with Nicky Saban, and what's happening with that deal? And he fired back at the University of Florida's staff yesterday. We'll tell you about that next right here on Buddy Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin for WinStar Medical Research. Every day we hear another story about innovation or about the cutting edge of technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. But did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that will impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name WinStar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize WinStar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at WinStar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people are right now. WinStar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend an opportunity to you to be a part of these. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. WinStar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. WinStar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless a recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops.
Hi, this is Tom Schmitz, the host of Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA. The Saturday Sports Page is your weekend destination for everything sports. From NASCAR to golf, baseball to boxing, and of course the best, most comprehensive football coverage on the radio. Also, you don't want to miss my weekly Are You Kidding Me rant? So join me and JJ LaSalva every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA, The Source.
Visit the WOCA website at www.woca.com.
This is a public notice. Local residents can now save thousands of dollars on their next car, truck, or SUV. It's not a tent sale, because no tent is big enough to hold this many cars. It's ocalaforsale.com. Say goodbye to sticker shock. Ocalaforsale.com has thousands of vehicles with no stickers at all. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to ocalaforsale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge, undercutting, less roofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
In the battle of the leafy greens, kale comes out on top. Gram for gram, kale has more vitamin C and A and K. Plus, kale has 3 times more lutein than spinach, which helps protect your retinas. 61% of human resource managers said a tattoo would seriously hurt a job applicant's chances. Do you have distilled white vinegar in your home? Doctors say this is a great natural bug bite remedy because it neutralizes the venom.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hi folks, I'm Seth McBride with Pasture Sports. Here today to tell you about our annual early buy school uniform sale. Save up to 15% off. Calling all students and parents of Trinity Catholic, St. John's, you get 15% off. Ocala Christian Academy, you get 15% off. Blessed Trinity, you get 15% off. Meadowbrook, you get 15% off. Dr. N.H. Jones, First Assembly, Redeemer Christian School, Grace School, you all get 15% off. And now, welcoming our newest school, Evergreen Elementary, you get 15% off. Now is the time to buy your school uniforms from Pasture Sports. Buy now, save huge for next year. 15% off now through May 31st and 10% off June 1st to June 15th. So come on down to Pasture Sports for the only big school uniform sale of the year. Located on Highway 200 across from Honda of Ocala, Pasture Sports, your uniform experts.
Hey, welcome back to Buddy Sports Page on a Friday. A lot of interesting things happening these days around the SEC and in college football at booster club meetings. People saying things that get themselves in trouble. It seems, of course, that the favorite target of most people is Nick Saban from Alabama. It's always the guy who's on top, and he's gotten his fair share of barbs lately, not the least of which has come from the University of Florida and a guy who used to work for him named Tom Davis, who now works for Will Muschamp. With us on the phone from ESPN Gator Nation is Mike DiRocco. Mike, were you there at any of those meetings when Davis said that, or what do you know about that story?
No, I wasn't there. I was Muschamp had a speaking engagement the same night in Jacksonville, so I was at that one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, buddy, to be honest with you, I think these things get blown way out of proportion. Tim Davis is an outgoing, gregarious,
I'm sorry, I said Tom Davis.
loud,
I apologize.
boisterous guy.
Yeah.
He was playing to the crowd at a booster function, and you know, to be honest with you, I think it's just people are just making way too much of it. He was having some fun. It's what you do. You've been to millions of these booster club things, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do. It's what the coaches do. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't have written it. I mean, if I were sitting in the audience, you know, because normally we have media time beforehand, and then I go sit and listen to Muschamp's speech. If they said something like that, I wouldn't have written it. I would have just laughed with everybody else and left it alone. I think there's a responsibility for people to understand, you know, what those events are and what they're doing. You know, it's different. I guess, you know, when Spurrier called Florida State Free Shoes University, I mean, that might have been a little different because it was, you know, the NCAA's sanctions and the problems and all that other stuff. So this was just, you know, Tim Davis being funny and joking about a guy he worked with, and you know, I don't necessarily know if I would have written anything about it.
Yeah, I saw somebody's account, Mike, of that, and said that he gave a pre-speech interview, which he talked a little bit about it, but then he made this comment about Muschamp said Will worked for the devil himself for 7 years or something like that. It was in Melbourne, and I don't know who covered the event. Somebody maybe at Florida Today. But the thing about that, once it gets in the video, in the media, now it goes ping pong. Tim Davis made that remark, semi-jest, and something that didn't shock me. And then it gets picked up, and now there's been a reaction now finally from Saban, who said, you know, I'm disappointed. I know Will Muschamp. You know, that's not the way he responds normally. His University of Florida. I'm sorry to hear that a former assistant coach feels that way. I wish if he had a problem with me, he'd have come to me and talked about it. Well, you know, of course, we all know that people talk about the boss. That's the way it is everywhere. But Saban firing back kind of surprised me. I thought he just let it go, you know, not say anything about it. But he's responded to it, so apparently it struck a nerve with him.
Yeah, I mean, look, you talk to every former assistant that he's ever had, Michigan State, LSU, Miami. He's a bear to work for. He is not a great boss. For a bunch of reasons. I mean, there was a time, you know, when he's at Michigan State, he's turning over half his staff every year. You know, well, I'm probably exaggerating that a little bit. He had a lot of turnover on his staff because he's hard to work for. Now, he's probably mellowed as he's gotten older, and he's gotten more secure in his role as the Alabama coach and the icon at State. So, you know, the fact that, you know, maybe he was tough to work for shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, I was a little surprised that Saban kind of answered that. I thought he would just kind of blow it off and understand what it was and what it is, and the circumstances surrounding it. It's one thing, to sit there and, I mean, it was an off-the-cuff, like you said, he works for the devil himself. He worked for the devil himself. It's not like you said, Nick Saban, he's the devil. We can't beat him in any recruiting battles. He's the devil. Just understand what it was. Now, and I'm not saying that Nick shouldn't have got his feelings hurt, because no one wants to be referred to as Lucifer, for sure, but I just think this has kind of gotten blown way out of proportion, and part of that is the fact that it's May and there's really not much going on.
That's it, and of course now you got Mark May reacting to it. I don't know
Tim. Totally over the top.
I don't know Tim Davis, but in my opinion, he's a classless, backstabbing coward, he says. Anyway, I know that the assistant coaches for Urban Meyer always like to, just gossip about him behind his back, all in good fun, supposedly. Spurrier's assistants, any successful coach who's type A is going to have his assistant coaches complaining and whining and whatever. Who's the best boss you ever had, Mike, in the business?
It was probably Joe DeSalvo, Jim Nacella.
How many times did you say things to him that you're killing me, man, get off, and complain to one of your coworkers that he was killing you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what this does? Part of the reason why I'm mad at this is because, Will has got that no assistant speak policy. We get the coordinators once a week. So something like this happens,
it's done. It's over.
All over. We're never getting assistants.
You're getting nothing now. No assistant coach ever will ever be able to say a word. You're exactly right. That's exactly it. So, all right, what do you know about this guy, Christian Miller, who decommitted, who's number 3 linebacker overall, commit to Florida? What's that story? What happened? What's going on there with that story?
Well, from what I understand, he's probably under a little bit of pressure. He lives in Columbia. That's Spurrier's backyard.
Yeah.
And, wants to open up the recruitment a little. Florida's still in there. It's funny because, sometimes these kids decommit and they mean I'm not really going to Florida. Other times, they're saying, well, you know what, I just really want to take some other visits and see some other schools. And Florida's fine with that. Muschamp and the staff is fine with that. But they make it clear to the kids, it's like, look, okay, we have no problem with you looking elsewhere. We offered, you committed, but you want to look elsewhere, and we're okay with that. Do what you have to do for you and your situation, but understand we're going to look elsewhere too, because we can't sit around and wait for you, and then all of a sudden you decide at the last minute, okay, no, never mind, I'm not going to come there.
Right, the scholarship could come off the table.
Yeah. The offer's still on the table for them, but if they end up with a situation where, they get, they only have room for one more linebacker, and it's between this kid and somebody else, and they like the other kid just as much, or maybe just a little bit less, and that kid comes back and says, okay, yeah, I want to come, they'll take him, and then when Christian Miller comes, calls a week later and says, yeah, I want to come, well, we don't have room for you, Christian. Yeah. I mean, that kind of stuff happens. So, but I mean, it's May. It's a long way to go. Yep. There's nothing wrong with the kid, with what the kid is doing. Me personally, if my son were in that situation, I would always say, there's no need to commit early. Take your visits. Find the best place for you. These kids come to school and they visit and they get all caught up in the visit and the excitement. They have a good time and boom, they're taking it. When really, there's 2 or 3 other visits they need to take. You're going to have a good time at every visit probably. They're going to roll out the red carpet for you. So really take your visits, figure out what's best for you, and then commit. That's the way I would kind of handle it. And I wish all kids would do that. I'm sure there are coaches that, wouldn't like it and they would love an early signing period. But to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with what the kid's doing.
Good point. Final quick question, quick answer. Anything happen in the off season to change your mind about how the 2 divisions stack up now? And, is Alabama still going to be able to hang on? Is LSU getting better? Is there any new contender on the block? Georgia, give me your assessment right now of each division, which team you think is going to be dominant or perhaps could unseat one of the powers.
Well, I still like Alabama in the Western Division. LSU lost a lot of guys on defense, just a ton of guys. And I think that they're still in the same situation that Alabama is, too, in fact that there are guys that don't play as much that are waiting for their turn. They're going to turn out to be just as good as those guys. I think they've recruited that well, and they've got guys, that are going to step in and be big-time playmakers. We just don't know their names yet. The thing that worries me about LSU is Zach Mettenberger. I just don't know if that offense can get going. And it's sort of the same thing with Florida. I think Georgia's the best team in the East, and I think South Carolina and Florida are right behind them. And I think Florida's defense is going to be better than a lot of people think. And they're going to be fine in the secondary. I think Daniel McMillan, a freshman linebacker, is really going to help those linebackers out. And defensively, they're going to be able to rush the passer probably better than they have since 2009. So I don't have any concerns about that defense. And I really don't have concerns about Driscoll. I think he'll be fine. Or Matt Jones. I think he's going to be fine, too. I know the staff is just absolutely in love with that kid. So what are we going to see from the wide receivers? What are those guys going to do? Are they going to be any better? Joker Phillips is the coach now, and has done some good work with receivers before. So can he make the difference? And if he can, and those receivers are solid, consistent players, then I like Florida to challenge Georgia, the winner of that game here in Jacksonville, will win that division.
The receivers haven't been the same since Billy Gonzalez went to LSU. Mike, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, see you guys.
Mike Duraco, ESPN Get It. Take a break. We come back. We've got U Sports with Josh LaSalva coming up next right here on the Voice of Ocala Buddy Sports page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently with General Manager Pat Murray on the great family atmosphere at Country Club of Ocala.
It's a family-first club. Again, we have any number of different types of memberships, but obviously the one that attracts the greatest level of interest is our family. And the reason for that is we have a little bit of something for everybody. I mean, we obviously have a world-class golf course. We have 7 tennis courts here for all levels of tennis players. We have a junior Olympic-sized swimming pool. We have a fitness center that's second to none. We have state-of-the-art equipment in our fitness center.
Country Club of Ocala, where the facilities are all a family will ever need. For more information, call today at 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of Monday's Gator Report and Gator Talk Thursday right here on The Source. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's national magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and a coffee pot is always on. Call your good neighbor's State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 294-2444.
On Mondays, AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Torkel S. Wachter, the son of German-Jewish parents who suffered under the Nazi regime. He's an historian, and he trained as a diver in the Royal Swedish Navy. He's written a book. It's called The Investigation, a true story as recorded by Tori Wachtel's paternal grandfather and father.
Open for debate, where both sides of one issue will be debated.
And then Jeanette Carpenter will be on with us, a brand expert featured on the Hot 97, Radio Disney, and iPower 92.1, coming out to speak about the book, Starting a Nonprofit, Leadership, Programs, and Branding.
Have all of your vehicle questions answered by Matt Gibbs, owner of Sunrise Automotive, on auto repair with personal care.
And then Congressman Richard Nugent will be on to tell us what's going on up in Washington, D.C.
Pastor Luis DeJesus is the pastor of New Hope Church. He'll be speaking about the God Belongs in My City prayer walk that is happening in our area on Saturday, June the 1st.
All of that plus Fun with Joe on Mondays, AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
We may not have the kind of winters they have up north, but Florida weather can be still pretty rough on your ride, and Ford Lincoln of Ocala wants to save you money and time during their Restore Your Ride service event. Right now, you can drive into Ford Lincoln of Ocala, receive a free brake inspection, and if it's determined you need brake work, you can receive up to a $50 rebate on any Motorcraft brake service when you use your Ford service credit card. And if it's tires you need, Ford Lincoln of Ocala's Completely Satisfied Service Center can hook you up with up to $120 in rebates on any of the top brands backed by their low-price tire guarantee. So stop chasing all over town for this service and that service. Get it all done right, the right way at the right place at Ford Lincoln of Ocala during their Restore Your Ride event. There's also great savings on Motorcraft batteries, wiper blades. You know, my dad used to say, don't wait till it's too late. Get it done now. Visit Ford Lincoln of Ocala's Completely Satisfied Service Center, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 6, and Saturdays till 5.
We're back on Buddy's Sports Page live from Community Gazette Day at Gateway Bank. Real quick, before we get to Josh LaSalle, I'll give you an update on the leaderboard at the Byron Nelson Classic, the HP Byron Nelson. Keegan Bradley, 11 under through 14, 3 strokes ahead of the field. Tom Gillis and Angel Cabrera, both at 8 under. Our guy, Ted Potter Jr., is tied for 4th at 7 under through 15. He's 1 under on the day after shooting 64 yesterday. Ted Potter Jr. going to make the cut, tied for 4th at the Byron Nelson Classic. And now, as is the custom every Friday, Josh LaSalva with the High School Athletic Spotlight.
Thank you, Tom. And as Sean and Tom both know, the name is definitely gaining some traction here in Marion County.
Certainly.
And on today's show, we'll be recapping what happened in baseball playoff action in Marion County. And last week, we had an interview with Jake Radford about the Ultimate Frisbee League here in Ocala. This week, I had planned to have an interview with my man, Dash Winningham, just for Tom, but he's preparing himself for the Final Four in states for baseball. We'll get to that story later on in the show. Nevertheless, he'll be on the show when all is said and done. Just you wait. And this week, I also want to touch on some of the spring football action as the high schools are gearing up for next fall. So let's jump on in. Storyline number 1, a freshman was offered a scholarship to an SEC school this week for football. I think it was mentioned here on the show a little bit earlier in the week, but I'll give you my take on that as well. And number 2, spring football games begin next Thursday, so something to look forward to. And then storyline number 3, the road to states continues. So, I want to talk about a 15-year-old high school freshman. And you know, it's pretty rare that we're going to be talking about a 15-year-old on the show, especially as a freshman football player. But when this 15-year-old is 6'3", weighing 245, he's pretty newsworthy. Jordan Woods, who is a defensive end for Trinity Catholic, obviously has the size to play with juniors and seniors on the varsity level. Seems to me, though, he's pretty talented, too. And according to some scouts, they think so as well. Jordan Woods picked up a college scholarship already. And it wasn't just a college scholarship. This one is from a potential BCS school, plays in the SEC, and is coached by the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier. That's right, the University of South Carolina has offered a scholarship to a 15-year-old freshman to play football at the next level from Trinity Catholic right here in Marion County. And then a few days later, guess what? Duke offered him a scholarship too. So you have 2 D1 colleges offering a 15-year-old scholarship. There's obviously a lot of excitement surrounding Jordan Woods heading into next year.
Miami as well, by the way.
See, the kid's just gaining attention from everybody. And Coach Wentworth, the defensive coordinator from TC, who's a phenomenal coach, is very excited about Mr. Woods and his defense because he has a couple linebackers, a couple defensive backs that are also just as good and getting looked at from basically every college in Florida. Coach Wentworth later on said that, you know, there is scouts from every major conference attending spring practice. You can only imagine what it'll look like in the stands at Trinity Catholic come fall and on those Friday night great games. So it brings me to storyline number 2. You know, obviously spring football is underway, and the spring games begin next Thursday. Trinity Catholic will host a 5A school, Crawfordville, next Thursday night. TC, mind you, is a 3A school, so 3A school versus 5A school should be an interesting matchup. And then Vanguard will host the Westport Wolfpack at Booster Stadium next Thursday night as well. Remember what I said. Don't sleep on Westport this year. It'll be interesting to watch Max Linder, a new tight end coming in from Forest to gain some attention with Westport. And then Forest will travel to Spar, Florida to take on North Marion for the Spring Classic on Thursday night as well. We'll see how Forest does with the great amount of personnel changes, which includes the head coach change, the defensive coordinator change, and a surprisingly low amount of upperclassmen on the team. Not many seniors, not many juniors. It'll be a young Forest football team next season, and we'll see what that means. But that brings me to storyline number 3 about the road to states continues. Now, what does that mean? Last Friday, I told you guys there were only 2 teams left from Marion County still in the baseball playoff picture. That number has been cut down to 1. St. John's fell, but Trinity Catholic marched on. This is a Trinity Catholic heavy show today. But they have a good sports program right now. And the Celtics traveled to Satellite Beach to take on Satellite High School, and TC wasted no time when they got there. The first inning was greeted with an offensive explosion all down the lineup from TC. And guess who it was started by? None other than Dash Winningham. The bases were loaded for him. He steps up to the plate, laces an RBI single out in the outfield. Boom, TC up 1-0. Then Jesse Lepore followed with a 2-run single. The hitting became contagious for TC, scoring 6 runs in the first inning. Then the next inning, hey, let's just keep tacking it on here. That's what Coach Bond said to his players. So Dash Winningham took that and then took a fastball over the right field wall. That's his 11th home run of the season, leads Marion County in home runs. And considering that all the Marion County schools are done playing, it's safe to say that Dash has taken home the award for the most home runs in Marion County. So congratulations, Dash. And he probably will be most likely taking home the Star Banner Player of the Year for the 2nd straight year, and possibly the Florida's Player of the Year as well. You never know. Needless to say, Trinity Catholic won the game 14-1, and Trinity Catholic will play a school out of Miami in the state semifinals, the Final Four, everybody, at JetBlue Park. And if you don't think JetBlue Park is significant, then if I told you that that's where the Red Sox spring training field is, then you consider it significant. So TC will be playing right where all the Red Sox players played this spring. That game will take place May 20th, and head coach Tommy Bond is very, very excited, obviously, about the team so far. And he says that Trinity Catholic is peaking at just the right time in the year. Because right now, this is when it counts. This is the playoffs. The postseason, what matters. And TC has only allowed 2 earned runs in the last 37 innings. Strong pitching thus far, and the offense is producing 1 through 9 on the lineup. And the big number 4 hitter, Dash Winningham, continues to improve. Tom, that's all I got for the high school athletic spotlight today.
Seems like Trinity Catholic's on its way to some big success in baseball. Speaking of big success, when we come back from break, the reason this show's so successful, Buddy Martin joins us again, and I believe, do we have Joe Williams from Mile High Sports today, Buddy? We'll try to see if we get Joe Williams from Mile High Sports, but if not, I'm sure Buddy Martin can carry the show to its conclusion and wrap up this week. We'll do that next on Buddy's Sports Page, here live from Gateway Bank on Community Gazette Day on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase process straight along.
Mayday! Mayday! Our buyer blew it. He ordered 38 cars instead of 8. And now we have got way too much inventory.
Hey, this is Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. I've got to sell these 30 cars extra fast. I'm going spastic, so I've got to do something drastic.
Qualified buyers with $5 down can drive a nicer, newer car today. Who knew $5 could get you a nicer, newer car?
Well, it can, because I'm in a jam.
Is bad credit causing you distress? My For the People credit approval process just may save the day. Get approved for a nicer, newer car you'll love. Mayday! Mayday! Get down to Prestige Auto Sales right away. The Mayday madness ends after we've cleared 37 cars.
My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales or call 694-1234. See you at Prestige.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name.
Don't ever miss a single edition of the Mike Huckabee Show. We're going to have a whole lot of fun talking the big issues of the day. We'll talk to the newsmakers and the issues that made them a newsmaker, as well as we'll bring you some entertainment, some fun. You never know what's going to happen on the Mike Huckabee Show. Don't miss it.
Join Mike Huckabee every weekday from noon to 3 exclusively on WOCA The Source.
Hey, Larry, nice haircut.
Oh, thanks, Robin. Looks like you had something different done, too.
Yes, I did. Thanks for noticing. I went to Lupe at Merle Norman on the Boulevard for a fresh cut, some summer highlights, and a facial.
No kidding. That's who I go to. I didn't know she did all that.
She does coloring, waxing, styling, updos, microderms, and she does it all for prices that won't break the bank.
Sounds like you can take the whole family there.
As a matter of fact, I do.
Hi, this is Lupe. Let me be your personal stylist. To set up your appointment, call me today, 426-1229.
Cookies, 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 cookies.
When you want something special and fun for any occasion, get cookies. That's right. The Great American Cookie Company in the Paddock Mall, Ocala will make a delicious, fun-filled delight just for you. You might notice that I said fun and delicious more than once. That's because I can't say it enough. The next time you're at the mall, be sure and stop by or call 352-237-2557 to place your order.
Cookies, cookies,
Yum.
cookies, cookies. We go cookie eating cookies.
The Great American Cookie Company.
Call me crazy. Some people say insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. I think insanity is 1,000 single-sided full-color business cards for $15 or packing service for 50% off. Call me crazy. Green Sheet Printing on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street. 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Look for the yellow signs.
Welcome back to Buddy Sports Page on Friday. Getting to the last segment. That means it's time for our good friend in Denver, Colorado, from Mile High Sports, Joe the Hitman Williams. How are you, Joe?
Top of the Rockies to everybody down there in Ocala.
Thank
it's
you,
a smooth
sir.
90 degrees here today.
Whoa, you got hotter temperature than we do, man.
I got Florida weather.
You got Florida weather, for sure. Well, it is summertime. I don't know.
Minus the bugs and the alligators.
Oh, you had to get that in there, of course, I'm sure. By the way, one year you had the Summer of Love on your show. You always feature a theme. What is the theme this summer?
The Summer of Swing.
Is that in baseball or
that
music?
was what it was called, yeah.
No, you called it the Summer of Love. I remember distinctly.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore because it requires show prep, and I don't do that anymore.
Well, I know you follow a little bit of what's going on in the college football world, and I know you must have heard about Nick Saban and some of his assistant coaches, former coaches, taking him on and calling him Nick Satan.
Well, you know, my partner, Irv Brown, his son, is now the secondary coach for Alabama.
Oh, really?
Yes. And Greg Brown is...
Yeah, I remember Greg.
You know, they all got fired at Colorado last year, of course.
Yeah.
And Greg landed on his feet, and Nick hired him to coach his secondary at Alabama. So I haven't heard the Satan part, but I'm sure it's right around the corner.
Well, if you haven't known, a former assistant to him, now at Florida under Muschamp, of course Muschamp worked for him for 7 years, Tim Davis referred to him as the devil himself in a booster club meeting. And like I say all the time, when you get a football coach and a booster meeting and alcohol together, something bad always comes out of that meeting.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, yeah, and Saban, I mean, let's face it, the guy he's on top right now, and certainly he is. He's been the
plus
man.
there's no secrets in the Southeastern Conference.
They all get out there, don't they?
Yes,
for sure.
they do.
All right, Joe, are you ready for your weekly, for your monthly football fix in college football? I know you sit at home and brood all summer, waiting for all the magazines to come out. And have you gotten into your football mood, or have you picked up the NBA stuff lately?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any magazines. They haven't hit here.
Right.
Of course, I haven't been in the magazine store in about a week. Are they out yet?
No, they're not out yet, but they'll be out soon. I'm beginning to see a few things like Athlon.
Well, usually in June you start seeing them pop up.
You'll see. I saw some Athlon ratings starting the other day and what have you. So we'll get all. Now with the internet being what it is, they don't have the clout they used to have. Boy, it sure was fun back in the day when that's the only information you could get, and you used to run a mile to get a copy of Street and Smith to see what they said about your team, didn't you?
Yeah, and Street and Smith used to be the most legitimate one out there because back in those days, they always did theirs after spring football.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the other ones did it before spring football, and so Street and Smith was usually the Bible. I can remember far back enough, buddy, that professional football teams used to draft out of Street and Smith.
They did, and so did Doug Moe in basketball.
Yeah.
Let's talk for a second about, you got a few players in trouble down in Boulder. You always talk about the Gators getting in trouble. What's up with that quarterback situation that a guy got in trouble and got arrested? What's going on there in Boulder with the Buffaloes?
Yeah, Jordan Webb, who was the starting quarterback last year and had announced he was not going to be back, and then Alex Lewis, who was a starting guard and who had announced prior to all these shenanigans that he was going to transfer to Nebraska. Apparently, they pushed some kid around. Like I always say, nothing happens good after 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And apparently, they beat some kid up at 3 a.m. And this is all allegedly now. Of course, we weren't there, so I don't know how many witnesses they have, but they're both in some trouble because what they're being charged with, at least one of them, is a felony, and a secondary felony and mandatory jail time if they're convicted. So I'd say they're both in trouble. CU's quarterback probably wasn't going to play. He wasn't very good this year, but just underscores all you high school, college kids out there, go home at midnight.
Yeah, nothing good happens after midnight. We say it on this program all the time. Go home. Do like we did, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. The SEC has been under a lot of criticism recently for winning, I guess, all the championships. And Bob Stoops made kind of a ridiculous statement. If you saw that story about the fact if you break down the Big 12 versus the SEC, the bottom 8 teams have a better record than the bottom 8 teams in the SEC, which to me proves nothing. But what did you think about that comment?
I think Stoops needs to win a big bowl game before he shoots his mouth off.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think they're sick and tired. The only thing that saved his ass is he's been able to beat Texas. That's it. They get those big bowl games that mean something. It seems like the Sooners are never ready to play. But he say shoot off his mouth. Hey, coaches are going to stand up for their conference. I've heard some of these silly people up here in the Pac-12 now that Colorado's a part of. They talk about that conference, and they do it with a straight face. And I can't believe it, but I believe 7 national championships in a row pretty much speaks for itself, doesn't it?
I would say a deal of cards. It's over. And,
well, that's what I'd say.
No. Now, these things are going to turn. They will, obviously, some point in time. The SEC's got it all going the same way. But I do think that I don't think the SEC needs to talk about their game. They're doing it. Give me a quick take on Johnny Manziel. Apparently, he got in batting practice, hit a home run, and threw out the first pitch. He's got a little bit of Broadway Joe in him. I like the kid, but I don't think we'll be able to see much of him because they're going to keep him under reps. What's your take on this guy?
Well, he's a heck of a football player, that's for sure. I mean, he went into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama almost single-handedly. Mm-hmm. Now, everybody's gunning for him, and Texas A&M. I know I am a little biased about A&M, but
a little biased. You hate them.
Terrific talent, and they're. But Florida did beat them, and LSU beat them, and I saw those games just like y'all did, and yeah, he's the All-America Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, but it's probably too much to expect him to duplicate that this year. a lot of teams are going to be shooting for him. And I'd say Texas fight is goodbye to A&M. That's what I'd say.
Well, we'll see what he does, but I think the kid's got a lot of flair. I'm watching a video of him now throwing out the first pitch, and like it was a sprint-out pass or something, rolling off the mound. And the interesting guy. It's going to be fun to watch him this year. He is a heck of a player. Great to watch a young football player.
You can throw out the first pitch.
I know, but getting it to the plate might be a problem, Joe. I wouldn't go that far. Hitman,
let's see what he does in College Station on September the 18th against Alabama.
All right.
Let's see what he does.
I know. I'll take my chances with the Tide. Thanks, Joe. Have a great weekend, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
And I'm going with departing in the Preakness, as in I'm departing this show right now.
Okay, Joe, we're all going with Orb here. Thank you. Joe Williams picking departing, and you guys got a quick pick, by the way?
Let me put my mic down. I'm going with It's My Lucky Day.
I got to go with departing, too.
You're going to departing, and it's my lucky day. Anybody else? No, Sean? Okay. All right, I want to thank the staff, by the way. JJ back to the studio. Here we got our cast of thousands.